They hate it. They hate it because
Do they watch rugby though?
No, because
I don't know what
about it
he's
all the
talking
time.
We can talk for rugby for 20 minutes.
We did that on the
We
last
did that on the last podcast. Yeah, we went deep on
Great
rugby.
sport.
All right, so
Me?
We good? What's going on, Kyle?
He wasn't talking to you.
Uh-oh, we got a problem.
Who's got no audio?
The stream.
Let's
There's a problem
pause
on the
for a
stream. Stand by. We'll just push everybody. Well, no point in talking if there's no audio. Sorry, guys. We're learning. Oh, you guys can't hear anything?
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
closer.
Yeah, move your chairs forward. Just don't knock the cameras. You're fine. Seriously.
Come
We're down.
closer.
We don't have the
Because the audio is
PA
gonna be
system
terrible
that they
for
have.
shouts.
No.
So-
How do we get that? We're good? All right, we're back. We're back. Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. Sorry you guys
That's why
can't
they
hear
call me
anything.
the,
Sarah, I think we need a PA
Professor.
system. What do you think? That would make sense. Yeah. All right, anyway, Dingo, so you're from Africa. You had an interesting thing happen where you built a huge following, a big audience, and then it
Yeah.
all got shriveled up. Like, tell us your story a little bit.
So, growing up in South Africa, right? I'm not like a big tech savvy kind of guy with social media
The
and that.
opposite of me. You know
Yeah.
how I'm really, really good
Very
at it?
savvy.
Yeah.
I'm the
Very
opposite. So getting on a Facebook and YouTube and that we just far behind the curve. So someone said to me, you must do a YouTube channel. So we started a YouTube channel and then it got traction and we blew up to 400,000 subscribers pretty quickly and it was going well. And then there was a certain photographer in South Africa who had a little man complex and went through 300 videos over a 3-year period, and he found like 4 or 5 of them where my editor had taken like a Google image and incorporated it into a thumbnail with 4 or 5 other images. Don't do it, by the way, if you do.
Wow.
And he put 3 copyright strikes in the same day on our channel. And,
what a dick.
Right?
yeah,
Shutting the whole thing down.
and unfortunately, with YouTube, the way it works is that it's a computer system. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
like you pick up the phone, you speak to somebody.
Nope.
And the way that he did it, I could have probably fought it, and I probably should have fought it. But at the time, it was like, if that is his photo, we didn't know it was. It's in the thumbnail. It's not the whole thumbnail. And then I lost the channel in 7 days.
Damn.
Brutal,
So
man.
we're starting again, but it's I actually have to put some effort in, you know.
So this whole convention is about, at least today, right? It's like an industry day. It's about people figuring out how to influence other people, blah, blah. We're much more interested in like your actual passion about wildlife,
Yeah.
not about the creator side of us. Tell us what you told me earlier when I saw you for the first time in a year or so. You just got a giraffe. Tell us about that. Tell us about your property. Not everybody
So-
just gets a giraffe.
So we grew up always around animals. My dad worked for like a Fish and Wildlife Service over there. So we're always in the bush, always surrounded by, I think, some of the greatest animals on the planet. And so seeing elephant and seeing rhino and all of that stuff, it's part of who we are as Africans.
Sure.
And I've always had an affinity to reptiles. I was 4 years old. My dad got me this little field guide of the snakes of southern Africa, page 42, the gaboon viper.
Yeah.
And I opened it up, and it started off with a distinct head from a distinct buff-colored head, and then went into geometric patterns and pastel colors. And I'm like, this is it. This is the greatest snake I've
Yeah.
ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I was 4, and so every year at a school project, I would just do the gaboon viper, and then the following year I'd do that and just add a bit of info in as I got older. It was gaboon viper.
He's like 19 in
I
high
was gonna
school,
say,
turning in his
yeah.
4-year-old
Gaboon
gaboon
project.
viper.
How many times are you going to turn in the same fucking project, son?
The whole class knew about the gaboon viper. And so I had a passion for reptiles, and reptiles were more accessible than, let's say, a rhino. You know what I mean? You see a rhino with binoculars in a reserve, but it's not, you're not interacting with it.
Of course, yeah.
And then, so I had a passion for crocodiles, passion for reptiles, particularly got into the venomous stuff after the gaboon viper, so mambas and that. I got bitten by a mamba in 2003, a black
What?
mamba.
Oh, boy.
Smashed me hard.
Explain.
Where'd it get you?
How did you
What?
survive that? I mean, tell us
Barely.
the whole thing.
So when I was doing a school show, and back then I was 23, young and dumb. I thought, yes, you must take a black mamba to a school show, right?
Of
I thought,
course.
why not?
Yeah.
So I went there.
Isn't it amazing how dumb the choices you make in your early 20s are?
We talk about this on the podcast
All the time.
all
Yeah.
the time.
Goodness, there were no cameras when I
offense.
was 23. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
right.
thank goodness no social media because
Yeah.
I was dumb.
Yeah, but tell us, how did,
So I'm doing the show. There are 300 people in the crowd. So my last snake in the show, And back then, there was no one trained you on handling snakes.
So
There
you
were no
just figured it
hours.
out,
You
yeah.
figured it out, trial and error, and it was an error. So I had one of the tongs, and I lifted the tongs up, and the handle got caught inside the handle. So the grip that comes in, I felt like there was tension on the snake, and there wasn't.
Oh.
The snake was just sitting there, but I thought
And
there
it was, and the tongues were open.
So it was open tongs, and I was holding it up. It was about a 2.8 meter mamba, so
Jesus.
9 foot or whatever that is in feet. And next minute, I see this thing turn.
Yeah.
This thing turns and starts coming down at me, right? So I drop the tongs like this, still got it by the tail.
yeah.
But from me to where these chairs are, there's 300 kids sitting there with the headmaster and the teachers and everything
Right,
else, right?
right.
I'm up on one of those stages with the curtain behind me. So I see it coming. I drop the tongs, hold it by the tail, hits me right here on the thumb. Bang.
Oof.
So I know he's hit me.
You knew right away.
Straight away.
How did you play it off to the mass audience of 300 people?
So as it hits me, I go like this, I turn around, the snake's trying to get under that curtain.
Yeah.
Fortunately, because otherwise, Mamba was going to come back and try to hit you again.
Yeah.
So I pick up the grab stick again, put it on the snake, neck the snake, and I'm expecting to turn around and have just pandemonium, right?
Right.
Snake's so fast, no one knows I've been bitten except for me.
No way.
I turn around, as I turn around, I'm talking 3-4 seconds after the bite, I get these pins and needles all over.
Oh, Jesus.
So then I'm like, damn, it smashed me, because you know what it's like. Everyone reacts differently. Different
Yep.
snakes put in a
Yep.
different amount of venom, all of
you
that.
could have dropped dead. I mean,
Right.
nobody, yeah.
So instantly, pins and needles, all over the face like this. So I'm like,
Yikes.
okay, I've got it, but no one's reacting. So now I'm like, I don't really know what to do. So I'm like, okay, we carry on. This is the black mamba, but I think my voice went a little bit higher. And it was the quickest little black mamba demonstration. Open the mouth, black inside of the mouth, la, 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 la. And I put it in an enclosure, because the thing was, I put it in an enclosure, then all the kids walk around and they have a look at it up close. And as I put it in the enclosure, hits the back of the enclosure, bounces back out. So I have to grab it again. But now my whole face is going lame,
Oh.
So I get him, put him in, close the door. And then one of my guys was sitting right there. He didn't know I'd been bitten. And so I said, okay, Rob's going to take over. He's going to tell you what to do. And I jump off the stage and I walk towards the back. And the principal gets me probably like,
You're like,
20
oh,
foot
God,
off
please,
there.
not now.
And the principal's like, oh, great show. I said, listen, I need to go to the hospital. He says, why? I said, I just got bitten. He says, what bit you? And he was literally 15, 20 foot off me when I got bitten.
Yeah.
And he's an adult man. He didn't see it.
Yeah.
And no pain on the bite, just nervous system going mad. So then I get to the back. I've got a mate there. Same conversation. I'm like, let's just get to the hospital.
Yeah.
Same conversation. And then we get into the vehicle, and he's driving, and I'm talking probably 2 minutes after the bite now. As I get in, my hands start going like this.
Just
Yeah.
locking
I'm
up
like- I'm
completely.
like, we're
You
in
wanna
trouble.
get
You're
bit by a
curling
black
up like a
mamba.
I'm curling
dying
up.
insect.
Apparently.
Like, you know
And-
when an insect is dying, it all curls up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
and
end
my
of you.
toes got pins and needles, and they're coming up. And I think sometimes it's
I
worse.
don't like this.
I don't like this at all.
We've gone pear-shaped so fast. But I think sometimes it's worse knowing what the symptoms are going to be,
Because
because
you're now expecting it.
100%.
anxiety.
You're thinking the anxiety's kicking in 100%.
So we got a
yeah.
10-minute drive to the hospital. The school's phoned the hospital saying we're coming in, black mamba bite. Everything worked perfectly that day from that point of view.
Which for South Africa is a miracle.
Bro.
But to be clear, like the fact that the fact that Dingo didn't get stopped, mugged, shot, there was electricity on.
Yeah.
The fact that the electricity
Right.
was on.
Yeah.
I'm not
Traffic lights
joking.
were working.
Oh, the
dude,
traffic lights
I've
were
been
working.
to a hospital in Johannesburg,
Yeah,
and
that's
it
right.
was not great.
No.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you
Not a
made
good
it.
So we're
experience.
going down this road, and we got probably about 5-6 minutes left, and we're going through red robot traffic lights. We're going through stops on the pavement wherever we need to. And my hands are completely like this now, and I can feel it hitting me in the thighs. And I'm like,
Or you're thinking I'm dying.
100%.
Yeah, you're like, I'm
100%.
done. This is it.
I'm done
Yeah.
because
Are you? Your wife's here. I saw her just now.
Yeah, we weren't
Were
married
you
at the
guys-
time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What
She's
were you-
like-
But she came
Yeah.
in. She came and visited me in the
She was
hospital.
like, "Thank God he has that life insurance policy."
So yeah, that happened years later. So what happens is I get these pins and needles, and they're coming up my legs and they're coming down my arms, and I know when it hits your diaphragm, your tickets. That's it, gone.
Okay.
So, and as I'm going, I'm like, am I battling to breathe, or am I fine? Because now you're
It's in your
thinking,
head.
you know.
Yeah.
So we get to the hospital, and as we pull into the emergency room, fortunately they organised. There's a wheelchair outside. I try to get out the door on the ground. Boom, done. Legs are gone.
Yep.
I get
Yikes.
wheeled into the casualty room, and within about a minute, I stop breathing. And the last thing I remember was this doctor came. He had actually been in theatre, and he was the only guy he knew about me. My aunt was a theatre sister in theatre with him. So when he got the call, Black Mamba bite, he was like, okay, so this person is a black mamba. It's not a house snake or
Right.
something.
It's the real deal. No,
So-
no
because-
time to assess.
No.
Yeah.
So I remember passing out as they were shoving a ventilator down my throat.
Wow.
No way.
And you know, you watch on TV, it's like all gentle and in it goes.
Yeah.
When you're dying from black mamba, it's just in. I had like stuff coming up a month afterwards from my esophagus that they shoved, or
that's
whatever hole it is, that my
Horrible.
trachea that they shoved down there because it was one of those. And I woke up in ICU 9 hours later, and I was in there for 3 days waiting for the antivenom to work and get rid of the effects of the venom.
What's the science? So as soon as it hits your diaphragm, basically that just gets paralyzed, and then your lungs just stop.
You die from there,
Okay.
yeah.
And
And then
It shuts it all down.
later on, your heart will stop, but you don't get to that stage.
Yeah.
Your
Right.
diaphragm
Yeah.
gets paralyzed. That's how you die.
So Forrest, whenever he's handling venomous snakes in my presence, sometimes he ends up throwing them at a camera guy, which he's done.
yeah, fair enough.
He's
one
done a
or
lot of
two.
that.
It's not-
But he's.
It happens.
We
yeah.
always say, "What do you do if you get bit?" And he's like, "Just stay calm. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just chill out. Stay calm. You don't want it to pump through your system."
Yeah.
Are you like thinking about rugby stats? Like, how do you stay calm in that situation?
Impossible.
So I'm fortunate in those situations. That's where I thrive. I'm
Yeah.
better when it's chaos. Like
Yeah.
I'm bad when it's boring. Then
I
I'm
know a lot
all
of
over
people
the
like
place.
you.
Yeah.
And
Can't
so
handle normal life.
Why are you looking at me? Why are you staring at me like that?
The only
you know
problem
why.
is I start telling people how to treat me. So in Bolivia, I got tagged by someone who had allergic. So I'm allergic to venom now. Had an allergic reaction.
Was that the causality of the allergy to
Yeah.
venom? Yeah, that's usually what happens.
So,
Interesting.
especially African spitting cobras, you get exposed to that venom when it's crystallized on glass or something like
Yep.
that. You breathe it in,
And
and
it becomes super
dirty.
sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, but so you got bitten
No,
in
so
Namibia?
I got bitten in Bolivia by
sorry.
a leopard water snake, right, which is a
mundane.
non-significant snake.
Yeah.
And my co-host at the time, we're filming for the History Channel. He got bitten by one. Nothing happened to him, and so he was fine. I went down like a ton of bricks in half a minute then. But now that's all allergic reaction, which
Right.
is way scarier than
The
venom
actual
symptoms.
venom.
Yeah, dude.
Sure.
And I got the equivalent of 57 EpiPens of adrenaline in 2 days. there.
Jesus.
But neat into the vein, not an epi because it won't do anything. So that was a rough one. I was married with 3 kids at that stage. And then that makes you relook at things, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm living the dream, filming for a big whatever in South America, howler monkeys, pink river dolphins. It's like, it's what we live
Feels like
for.
the dream, yeah. Right.
And then I'm dying 10,000 Ks away from my family.
you
This
get
is
you
crap.
get that brought back to reality moment very,
Yeah.
very quickly. Yeah.
So when you asked the question earlier, what were we involved with that? I got back from there, and I was like, I'm going to get rid of every snake I've got. You know, like grow up. You got 3
Yeah.
children.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Kirsty, my wife, actually said to me, just don't make any decisions now. Just relax. And then we got to a point where we're passionate about reptiles, but we're passionate about all animals. And what
Yeah.
we were able to do with our YouTube channel and social media stuff is we're able to take people who are watching to see if you're going to get killed by a black mamba or
course.
something. And then we were able to channel those guys into, there's a rhino that needs to be dehorned, there's
Yeah.
pangolin that needs
Yep.
a soft release program.
Nice.
And these guys were funding real wildlife conservation work,
Yep.
and that does it for me.
That's huge.
So
yeah.
that, like, when I say I'm into conservation, I'm into getting people to fall in love with animals, and I'm into saving animals in the wild and setting a new standard for how they should be kept in a captive kind of management
That's great.
environment.
Love that.
That's great.
And we're building currently a big facility in South Africa.
We were remember when I was in South Africa, we were texting. I was
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
trying to make it over, but I was shooting Shark Week,
Gotcha.
45 minutes from their house, and he's like, "Come over for a barbecue," and I just, you know what it's like.
He's
on
a big
set.
deal.
There was no,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all I'm
yeah,
trying to say.
45-minute drive in South Africa,
Is
you wouldn't make it.
I
You'd
wouldn't
be
make
dead.
it, yeah.
You'd be dead.
Is the facility just like in your yard? Is it
No.
like okay.
So now we've got 3 acres. We keep all of our ambassador animals. We're going to move there. There'll be others we get, but the special crocodiles. We got like a almost 15-foot king cobra. We got like a 21-foot retic. Those are all going to be there.
Nice.
So those
Huge.
ones we've got with us. But we bought a 50-acre farm, and we're trying to change the way captive animals are done on the African continent. Like you've seen it. It's not
It's
great.
pretty rough.
It's like a bad zoo.
Around the world, a lot of places are still old school.
Yeah.
And it's like
Concrete
we-
pens, you know.
it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
1970.
Plastic plants,
We
yeah.
can do
It's
it
like
better.
going to the LA Zoo. It's just horrible, depressing.
Haven't been there, but yeah. So I want to change the way that's done in Africa, and we've got the opportunity because we have less rules than a lot of the guys do in the rest of the world.
That's
so we
for
can
sure.
have places where we can have interactions, and one of these animals is Elliot the giraffe. who we got recently. He was going to get euthanized because he's habituated with people, and there was a
Full grown?
full grow. He's 4.5 meters. He'll get another meter or so, a couple of feet on top. And he's a big, beautiful bull. And there was a lady that was, her and her kid were taken up by a relaxed giraffe last year, on the way to their lodge at a reserve. And when that happened, everyone got a bit of a fright of
kid
habituated.
killed them both, did it?
It killed the kid, and she's disabled.
Paralyzed.
At the moment. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
paralyzed.
Mhm.
So when that happened, there's like kind of always a knee-jerk
Of
reaction.
course, you have to go out and get justification, even though it's
So
nonsense. Yeah.
so this giraffe had grown up. It wasn't the one that was involved in the situation, but it grew up on a reserve, and it was so habituated with people. It always came for scratches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they were like, it's too dangerous in a lodge setting where someone's trying to get to their room at night, and you've got
Right, this towering
one
giraffe.
ton of fun standing in front of you who wants to.
Have a
And
nuzzle, yeah.
when a giraffe, people don't realize, when it's standing by that wall over there, yeah, it's a big animal. When it's standing here, and you're looking underneath it
At its belly.
Yeah.
it's like it can kick me and kill me. I mean, it kills
Oh,
a lion
yeah.
with
Of
a kick,
course.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like if it gets a fright, if it does something. So I thought that's what an opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's so we've got this. We've changed his name to Elliot. He was
Okay.
Millies, which no one out of South Africa will understand.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
These are corn.
And
That's what it really is. Yeah.
so his name is Elliot, and he is the most affectionate giraffe. He just licks you. He's like an annoying dog, but he's a giraffe.
I'd come to South Africa just to
to play
get a
belly.
giraffe lick.
Just to have a
Bro.
giraffe.
Well,
kiss.
I can tell what Peter's picturing is like he's going to be like frolicking with the giraffe.
Oh,
hugging
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And what
Peter
he,
would startle it in about 8 seconds. It would go straight
course.
hook
Well,
to
we're
the
both
dome.
1,000 pounds.
So
so
this,
we
is,
can
this is the
frolic
first.
together.
This is the first time I met him. We're on top front of the game drive
What a
vehicle.
beauty.
Oh,
He
wow.
sees us in the bush, leaves his 10 mates.
Show the audience. It's pretty amazing.
He leaves his 10 giraffe mates in the bush, comes up to people, starts just licking.
Like
Yeah.
a
Started
dog.
getting a bit amorous with the vehicle, but that's a different story. That's when it gets dangerous. You know what I mean? When the legs look like they're coming up, it's like, whoa, buddy.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, that fifth leg starts growing. Yeah.
And it's impressive. And
It's impressive.
That's a nice tongue on that giraffe.
it's
by the way.
amazing. So you're getting licked by a giraffe, and it's like, this is unreal. And that's what I want to give people. We're fortunate we've grown up and we've had these experiences.
speaker.
But I want people to have that experience with a giraffe, because when you have that experience, it changes something fundamentally inside of you.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to do with rhino and giraffe and king cobras and crocodiles and red
Everything.
pandas and sloths and anything we can.
Yep.
That's
Is
awesome.
you build that connection between people and animals, and suddenly it's not just we live in Africa, they're giraffe.
Right.
It's, do you remember what that tongue felt like? Do you remember how
Right.
big it was?
Yeah.
Those
Right.
horns.
I mean, this is, you and Forrest both have this in common. I mean, we've talked about this on the podcast plenty of times. The zoos are controversial things, but, you always say, like, to get out of your house and have the connection with the animals is a totally different experience than reading about it on Wikipedia.
Oh, and thank God that we have YouTube and people like Dingo who are bringing that into people's homes, and that's sort of what
Exactly.
everybody in this room is. So, Dingo, we could sit here and chat with you for 2 hours at least. It's good to see you, always, my friend. Thank you
you,
for
man.
jumping on the
Thanks
Wasps.
for coming on.
And
All right, brother.
beers at the pool tonight, huh?
Thank you, buddy. Good to see another African here.
All right,
Wait,
buddy.
are we going to
Thank
be
you so much.
topless, shirtless?
Of course, you're not, because it's grotesque, but everyone else will be.
Well, it is grotesque. All right, what do we got?
All right, who we got up next? Next we have Emma. There she is. Come, Emma. Welcome.
Oh.
Welcome.
Kyle, are we able to get a speaker so that people can hear us? Working on it? Thank you
Nice.
very
All right,
much.
we're gonna get a
Sorry, guys,
speaker
if
so
you're
you
in the
guys can
audience,
hear
we
us better.
didn't account for that. So speaker should be coming, but I think everybody streaming online happy. Can they all hear us? Excellent.
All right.
All right.
Hi, Emma.
How you doing?
Come and be part of your podcast. I've loved watching it. I'm really excited. It's like a dream
Oh,
come true for me.
wait, you're our female listener? We have one?
It's me.
Did you hear that?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Now we know who checks that one box. Yeah.
Emma, let's pull the mic a little bit over.
Yeah,
just a little bit
absolutely.
more.
Can
There
you
you
hear
go.
me now?
Let's get nice and comfy with that mic. You can talk at the mic. You don't have to look at Forrest, even
That's
though he's
true.
very
Hello,
handsome.
welcome to the
Aw, thank you.
podcast.
That's
I
lovely.
am
Well, it's so
Zotic.
nice. Thanks for joining us. It's great to have you on. Thank you for
Thank
listening
you.
to the pod. We
Absolutely.
enjoy it. We have a lot of fun. Welcome.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here. Second year, from one of the OGs. So
Yep.
it's nice to see this set up so that everybody at home can also join in and enjoy
Exactly
themselves.
right. Exactly right. So, where do you live?
I just moved last week from Colorado to Massachusetts.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow. Why?
Yeah.
Why to Massachusetts?
Because the East Coast is the best coast.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
What does that have
Coming from
anything to do? I
Colorado,
don't.
too.
So in California, we're not allowed ferrets. You love ferrets, right?
I love my
But first of all,
ferrets.
before we even get into that, why don't you explain a little bit? Why do you love ferrets? What do you do with ferrets? For our audience that might not be familiar with you, why don't you explain it a
I
little
love
bit?
ferrets too, by the way. Oh,
Oh,
they're the
good. A
best.
man of
Be
culture.
quiet. Be quiet.
I like it. Well, ferrets are
relate
great
here.
because they are they're a treat for all the senses. They're just a lot of fun. You can't really depress a ferret. You just can't have a bad day around ferrets. And it's true, in California they are illegal. They're also illegal in New York, hence why I'm not in New York. I do love New York City, to shout out to everybody who's watching from New York City. But yeah, I like to create content on YouTube that helps people to understand better how they can care for their pet ferrets, because they're not as easy as they look. They're pretty simple creatures, but they're not as easy to care of as you would think that they might be.
Well, isn't it true that they have a very strong scent gland?
Oh,
that,
they do.
How do you deal with that?
You don't. You just become nose blind to it. You have to embrace it. You have to love the mustiness and the musk.
I love
So-
that.
To like it.
Were you like the weird kid who had a bunch of ferrets before you had an online presence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been the weird kid. I'm still the weird kid.
Sure.
Shout out to all the weird kids.
And you
out
were
there.
a zookeeper, right?
I was a zookeeper for a couple of years.
At which
and,
zoo?
It was actually a zoo in London. It's a small zoo called Golders Hill. So
Okay.
I was there for a couple of years.
Gotcha.
How many ferrets did you have when you were growing up?
None. I didn't
Oh.
get ferrets and start getting really weird until my 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I started with hunting ferrets.
Oh, interesting.
Oh wait, tell us about that. So, yeah.
So over here in the United States, most ferrets are produced by one company. I won't go into it, but they are mostly to do with being kept as pets. Now in the United Kingdom, yes, you can keep them as pets. They're phenomenal pets. I love them. However, they are also very heavily used when it comes to rabbiting and clearing farmers' fields of,
And
vermin.
actual ferrets, not minks or anything else?
Actual ferrets, yeah.
Wow.
So I kept hunting stock, and they're very different to the traditional floppy pet ferret.
Yeah,
that you
they're
get
probably
here in the
pretty
United
nasty,
States.
I imagine.
I mean, you gotta like the bites. They give a lot of love bites.
Yeah, right.
They're good at their job. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so let's say someone keeps some ferrets for hunting.
Yeah.
They like hunting rabbits. How does that work? Do you release is it 10 ferrets? Is it one ferret?
So you want to go for the girls because that's the Jills. That the females are called Jills. They're the hard workers. The males are a little bit too laid back, a bit lazy. They just want to kind of take
Understood.
it.
That
Makes
doesn't
sense.
make sense at all.
No,
Yeah.
it does. It makes
So
perfect sense to
the
me.
girls are the workers. You want to get nice small Jills with small structure. You can put them down into the rabbit warrens, and you need to. This is crucial. You need these special nets to put over the different exit holes, because otherwise the rabbit's going to get away.
Yeah.
You want to catch that rabbit because you don't want them to go on and repopulate. A lot of them have myxomatosis and other different things. It's really gross. Look up myxomatosis. You'll have a great time.
Yeah, those rabbits are wascally.
They
They
really are.
can be.
So those nets,
Nice.
they actually enable you to catch the rabbits
Yeah.
once the ferrets have flushed them out of the warrens, and then the ferrets get a lovely, yummy dinner.
Dude, that is the most incredible thing I've ever
So-
heard, by the way.
You're not doing rabbit ferret hunting in Massachusetts.
No.
You've come a long way.
She throws
since
them in the
then,
sewer.
right?
No, the only
Yeah.
thing that they hunt
Sewer
is
rat
my
hunting.
toes.
Your
They
toes?
That's just my
How many
toes.
ferrets do you have at home right now?
Right now I have 3 gorgeous ferrets, my stinky slinkies.
Stinky.
What are their
Slinky.
names?
They are called Dobby, Niffler, and Noodle.
Oh wow.
You know,
like
I
that.
love going to the pet store, even though it's always also depressing. But they always have ferrets just in the thing, and they're all just curled up in one big ball, and then
yeah.
12 of them spread apart.
Yeah,
And
you're like,
all-
oh, there's a ferret in there, and then there's just
Yeah,
a clown car.
the
They
clown
just keep
car.
coming and coming and coming.
Exactly.
That's funny.
What other?
those little
So
guys.
you do more than ferrets,
Yes.
obviously.
Certainly.
What other animals do you have just at your house?
So right now I'm really focusing on the reptile side of things, and I would like to start establishing a lot of the species that are sort of underrepresented or sort of neglected. They've been brought in from the pet trade and exploited for many years.
Yep.
Right now I'm really interested in the Chinese water dragon for that specific reason, because they used to be brought in en masse. The $20 animal at Tinley.
Yeah.
But now you really can't get them because they've just gone CITES. So I'm really excited to be working with them, breeding them, and showing how incredible they are, because they're like an epic looking little iguana.
At
that
your
doesn't-
house?
At my house.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
But they just don't reach those mammoth sizes that most people can't cater for.
Yeah.
Is the Chinese water dragon in the same genus as the centipede?
No, that's definitely not.
You were in a
That was
movie about a
That was a
centipede.
worthless transition, by the way.
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was great.
Throwing me right in there, aren't we? Yes, forever the butt of every joke.
I've never seen the movie. I heard it was a very masterful piece
It's
of art.
a romantic comedy,
Yeah.
suitable for date night.
tell.
It's
Oh, yes.
wonderful.
I don't know it. I'm not kidding.
It's about teamwork.
yeah, it's about teamwork. Forrest, did you know that, a little off topic here, but that tegu, that Florida's now having an issue with invasive tegu that have been released? Like tons of them.
I know there's like a couple places that you can find them in Florida, but it's like a whole thing now.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this? Like big tegus all over the
Yes.
state of Florida?
I mean, I find it super exciting. Who wouldn't want to be just, traipsing through Florida and
Right.
finding an epic tegu?
By the way, Florida is just Jurassic Park now.
I know.
Oh,
It's
dude.
just like if you're from here, it's just Jurassic Park. Like it's
100%.
just filled with random shit that people have brought in and let go.
Yeah.
Talking
Yeah.
about it on the way here. There's now these eels that are
Oh, yeah.
going rampant here. There's pythons everywhere.
Tokays. There are tokays everywhere. And you know
Wow.
what? I have a theory.
What's a tokay, Peter?
It's like got to be a lizard.
Good. It's a
All right.
gecko, but
It's
good.
powder blue with these
He goes,
orange
wow. And I'm like, shut up.
What's your theory?
Oh, well, if you have seen this movie, I think it's from the 1970s. It's called Frogs. I don't know if have you been
If that's the name of the movie, Frogs?
Frogs, just Frogs. It's a
Simple.
horror
Genius.
movie.
Clean. Real clean.
You have to watch it. I think it's available on YouTube for free. You're going to hear it from me. But in that movie, it is set in the Everglades. And let me tell you, the amount of invasive species, you see them releasing into the
Oh
water
my
and into the wilderness in that movie. We're talking
In Florida?
In Florida.
And you see them actually like go free.
cane toads,
Oh, you're kidding.
everything.
You're kidding.
Tegus.
So
this is
That's
where
where
it
I think a
started.
lot came from.
Yeah,
That's
you're probably right.
Crazy. Well, I mean, that's what they used to do when they made movies. Patrick will know about this. On Catalina Island.
The bison.
Yeah, and they just brought in bison from the center of the country, and they're like, "This is a perfect set. Let's let bison go." And now there's
Why
just
not?
bison falling down cliffs into the ocean on Catalina Island. It's like something's not adding up here.
This is like
My
Pablo
God.
Escobar with his hippopotamus
Oh,
in South
yeah.
America. That's great. I love that story.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Now there's hundreds of them.
Well, but they're fixing that though, right? Aren't they shipping them out of there?
Well, they're
Oh.
fixing it by snipping a couple of them, but it's in the Rio Magdalena. It's like a whole thing. They're not going to curb it.
They've been trying they've had a lot of time and money put towards getting rid of these hippos.
Right,
Dude.
and there's just more
Can't work.
hippos.
The hippos won.
Yeah.
They've won.
I
mean,
hate this format. I hate this format. I would like to talk to Emma for another hour and a half.
I know.
I
She's
know.
Yeah.
very interesting.
I don't know why we did 20 minutes. Emma, thank you so much for coming
Thank you,
on.
Forrest. Thank
Yeah.
you, everybody.
Thank you so
Everybody
much.
Enjoy the rest of
Nice to meet you.
AnimalCon.
Right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have fun with the
Bye.
rest of the weekend. Good times.
Wild
We've got
times.
hundreds of people here. I can't believe it.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
we need to get a-
thousands
we need
that
to
are
get a-
sitting here?
we need
Yeah.
to get a speaker.
Dozens of hundreds.
We need a speaker. That's the
Put
problem.
it there.
Kyle's flashing a timer at us.
Kyle
has a
What?
timer?
What's that?
Sarah, do we have Dr. Plants?
Oh,
On his
good. So we
way.
got some time to just shoot
Is this
the
a good
shite.
time for me to go pee? Nah, it's fine.
No, you
I'll
can't.
hang on to it.
You got anything to say while he goes pee?
No, I'm good.
Do
Might
the
try
thing.
this
Do the
out.
thing you said you were going to do before the podcast. The pro move. Just
was
pee
it?
your pants.
Oh, just
Nobody
piss
can
myself?
see. Yeah.
No, it's true. There's a nice black table. Like, it might dry by the time I stand up. Yeah.
Just say it was a splash in the
Yeah.
in the bathroom.
It's terrible, huh? You guys can't hear anything? Nothing?
We're working on a
Brutal.
speaker for you guys
Yeah.
out there. A monitor.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's one way to do it. Well,
He's listening live.
yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. If you're watching this at home, the audience is not very able to hear us because we're in a big hall and we don't have speakers. We just have these. Not our fault. All right, here we go. This is exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wild Times. Dr. Plants himself. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, so my name's Jaren. Most people know me as Dr. Plants.
Yep.
Can I call you Jared Plants?
Jaren. With
Jaren
an N,
Plants.
With an N.
Yeah.
I get the D's
I
far
can't
away.
hear it from there.
I get this.
So
Yeah.
How
I'll
you doing?
consider
let's
it.
get this out of the way right off the bat. Are you a doctor?
It depends on who you ask.
Okay.
You
Understood.
should have worn a
But
lab
by
coat.
the medical definition, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so Brian sings your praises a lot.
Thank you. I really appreciate
Okay.
that.
And he's very impressed. I want to talk about what you do with building enclosures and stuff. But Brian came over here, he's talking to Peter and I, and he's like, dude, wait till you talk to Jaren. What he did on YouTube is amazing. Like, he came up with this whole thing and launched. He's like, you're not on YouTube, right? Like, your face isn't on YouTube.
A little bit. One time, that was it. Really.
One time. And you, like, made this insane channel for people that care about, like, building terrariums and ecosystems.
Yeah.
Explain it. Tell us about it.
So it started.
get
So
the
my
mic.
channel, right? It's about a year old, a year and a half, And right now we're
Doctor, I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you just speak into the mic a little
speak into
bit?
the mic,
Thank
like
you.
closer, like here.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
Doctor.
All right.
Pull it
Can we
towards
just
you.
call him Doctor from here on out?
Yeah, call me
Absolutely.
Doc.
Yes,
call
Doc.
me
Doc.
Doc.
Yeah, Doc.
So I started. So my channel's around a year and a half old, and right here, I started about
There you
a year and a half old, and so what happened is before I even started my channel, I spent 3 years researching. Right.
Researching
researching
terrarium builds?
YouTube.
Oh,
YouTube.
researching
The algo.
So I grew up my entire life just obsessed with animals, right? That's the same for all of us here, right?
For sure.
Our entire lives, we've just loved
Wouldn't
animals.
be here otherwise.
Yeah. But for me, it wasn't just about loving the animals. My passion was getting other people to love them too.
Love
and
that.
that's why I wanted to go onto YouTube and teach people, but I didn't want to go put my content out there and nobody watch it, right?
Yeah.
So I really wanted the stuff I do to be such high quality. So my video production time is 4 or 5 months, right?
Wow.
Per
Like-
video.
Per video.
Wow.
Like I upload quarterly. Like I only upload 4
Pays
or 5
off,
videos
though,
a month.
for you.
Yeah.
It works.
It works because people, like in our day and age, there isn't much genuinity. A lot of people aren't real. Like I want to make sure the stuff I put out is quality. So I prioritize consistent quality over consistent quantity.
Sure.
So, on the Wild Times, I know this is a convention about how you reach people and all that. We're more interested in what you care about. So
What I
tell us-
care about?
Yeah, tell us about your passion within the wildlife kingdom, within animals. It could be about terrariums and building habitats. Like we're building one on the pod, believe it or not.
Yeah?
So yeah, we might have to consult you. But
All right, you can always call
Have you
me.
done? Let me ask you. Have you done one of those closed systems?
So what I'm really fascinated with is actually building, like replicating ecosystems from the wild in captivity.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Rad.
something I did is I recreated like the Arizona desert. Death fainting beetle, scorpions, even vernal pools that like fill up with water, triops
way.
hatch, dry up.
That's so
And you
awesome.
you plumbed it and everything, so the
Yeah.
water comes in and out.
Yep.
Wow. That's
And what
cool.
happens is that when the rainy season comes, you see the water come up, all the triops hatch, and eventually, the water dries up, the triops die. The death fainting beetles eat the dead triops, and then once the water fills up again, the triops then eat the death fainting beetle poop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Full
the
circle
cycle.
of life.
System.
That's
Full
fun.
Cycle,
system. Yeah.
circle of life.
And I was always so fascinated with replicating these ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have heard of this, the Biosphere 2. Have you guys
No.
heard
The
of that?
movie?
No.
Oh.
No, not
So,
the
you
Pauly
You mean
Shore
the Pauly
film.
Shore?
I
You
was
think
like,
the
yeah, of
Pauly
course
Shore
I've
movie?
seen it. I love it. It's classic.
No, tell us about the Biosphere too.
So-
is that a Fluval product? The
No,
Fluval
it's not. It's not a
Biosphere?
product. It's not a product.
Okay.
So it was actually this giant science experiment, and so Biosphere 1, of course, is Earth.
Yeah.
Right. But Biosphere 2, they wanted to build. You know how I build these ecosystems, right? In these like fish tanks, like
Yeah.
50-gallon, 100-gallon. They did it with a tank. It wasn't a tank. It was like the size of this facility here.
Like
Wow.
a greenhouse.
Yeah.
It's a
but
big
for
facility
people,
for those
For
listening.
people. They
Yeah.
put 8 people in this giant tank,
Yeah.
basically, and see how long could these people last in a closed environment.
Is this
right?
a reality show?
No, it's a real thing
should
that
be a
happened. It's an
reality
experiment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it was like a reality show.
How'd they fare? How'd they do?
Well, they lasted, I think it was like 2 years.
Wow.
Completely
crazy.
closed ecosystem,
Shocking.
right? They
Yeah.
no food from the outside world. I think why they had to stop is because they were running low on food. They couldn't grow enough food, and oxygen was also running low.
Yeah, sure.
completely closed.
Regardless of the amount of trees planted and everything else.
Well, how many trees do you think you need per person?
That's
to
a great
survive?
question. Hang
Guess.
on.
Let's take a stab.
I
at
know.
How
that.
That's
many
math.
trees per? So we're talking full-size trees.
Just
Full-size
trees. We're not going to
people.
count shrubbery, nothing like that. Just a tree. How many trees do you need per person?
I'm going to say 12 trees per person.
That's the exact number I was going to say. I swear
it
to God.
doesn't.
I'm gonna go less. I'm gonna say 3 trees.
It's definitely like.
It's going to be
100.
way more, yeah.
20.
20 trees
okay.
per
So
person.
12 was pretty good. 12 wasn't too far off.
12's not bad.
Yeah.
3 was horrible.
So
Interesting.
wait, but if it's this huge biodome, how many trees did they have?
I honestly am not gonna lie. I don't know the exact details,
Okay.
but they had like a swamp area. They had like an ocean area, like with tides, everything.
And fish in it and everything else?
everything. Like they would hunt
How do,
the
how,
animals.
how do I not know about that? How does no one know about this?
But by the way,
I've heard
this
of
is
it.
the second
I've heard
one
of
they've
it.
done.
Yeah.
Biodome
Because they
2.
did the
No,
first
but
one.
no. With Pauly
It's called
Shore.
Biosphere 2
Biosphere.
because the Earth is Biosphere 1.
right.
Oh,
it.
I got you.
Okay.
Got you.
So the reason why, so why would people care about doing this, right? Imagine if we
Mars.
want to go live on the moon.
That's
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Peter, Mars.
I love
Yeah,
aliens.
Mars.
If
That's
you've never
it.
listened to the podcast, I'm a big fan
Well-
of Mars.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut off your story.
No, go ahead.
But so you've replicated the. Where do you live?
I live in New Jersey.
Okay, so you're in Jersey. You replicated the Arizona desert.
Yes.
You've done
Not
plenty
exactly.
of other habitats.
Yeah.
Have you considered doing as much research as you can and replicating the environment of Mars and seeing if you can sustain some small little critters.
Throw some bugs in there.
Wow, that's interesting.
That's a good question.
Gotta
Seeing
do it.
can life live in outer space?
Yeah.
See,
Could
to
you do that?
something like
You're
that,
pretty good at this stuff. Could
well,
you do that?
my last video was not quite Mars. It was just purely dirt. It was just a tank with dirt, planted a couple seeds, and you watch how over the course of 100 days, the tank evolves from nothing but dirt, full of life and plants, right?
Yeah.
And you watch how animals, they're predators and prey. You watch as like the jumping spiders hunt the crickets, and then the crickets, you know what I mean? It's like a whole ecosystem
Predator
there.
prey balance dynamics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But after 100 days, plants grow in too much. No more
Sure.
sunlight. So on the 100-day mark, I removed all, well, not the 100-day mark, it was pretty close. I removed all the animals from the tank and made a forest fire.
Yeah.
Dude,
Whole
you're
tank
doing.
burnt
You're
down.
playing
The
The
cycle.
Sims
Go on your
in-
channel.
All on my
in real
channel. I got
life.
this video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I
it's on
think
his
you're
channel.
correct.
He's
I know what
literally
Forrest's going to be
playing
doing
God.
tonight.
What's that?
I know what you're going to be doing tonight.
Yeah, I'm not going to the
Watching
bar
his
with you
videos.
guys. I'm
Yeah.
going to go watch these videos. Yeah.
No, we'll talk
As long
about it
as you're
later.
you
shirtless.
sure will.
But, so this entire tank burns down, and then you watch how out of the ashes, it sprung new life, and all the seeds that were dormant now begin to grow out of the ash.
Dude.
Wow.
And
That
the
is
cycle
wild.
begins all over again and again and again.
And you have to put the animals back in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not all of them. Well, surprisingly, I purposely made the soil very, very deep, right? So a lot of these animals survive all the way underground, like the snails,
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
springtails. All
Right.
these animals survive the fire.
And then they come back out.
they
Yeah.
come back out.
Yeah.
What's a
It's amazing.
springtail?
What's a springtail?
Sorry.
It's like a tiny little insect that eats mold and stuff like that.
Little mole insect.
Yeah.
Mold insect.
Mold eating insect.
Were you, did you study this stuff? Like, did you have any formal education?
So I do not have a formal education on this stuff.
So you're not a doctor. Just kidding.
Keep it on the
Just
low
call
key.
him Doc
Keep it
and
on the
shut your
low key,
mouth.
guys. Secretly, not actually a doctor. I actually got that name because my friends would make fun of me, call me Dr. Plants, because I get all these packages in the mail all the time. And I was like, like I spent 3 days straight sitting at my computer, random name generators, trying to come up with a good YouTube name. Could come up with nothing.
Yeah.
Settled on Dr. Plants.
There you
That's
go.
So
And
you
it's
just
great.
you took the name that your high school buddies made fun of
Yes,
you
that's
with.
so
Perfect.
yeah.
That
my-
really rubs it in their face, though. Like, if
Oh,
he,
yeah. It
he
really
makes this big
does.
YouTube channel and is super successful.
Exactly.
He's like names everywhere. He's like, yeah, Dr. Plants.
So
Take
I
that.
really, well, I kept my YouTube channel a secret. All my friends, family,
Oh, they didn't know it was yours?
no one knew I had this channel. Like not even my friends knew I was into animals for years.
Wow, dude.
Not until I got like maybe 600K did I start telling people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even then, I didn't tell people, and my friends would just be like, I just watched this YouTube video. I think I heard your voice.
Yeah.
Was that you, man? Are you like secretly a YouTuber? I was like,
Be like,
I don't
"No."
know, man.
That's
So
not
were
me.
you still in high school when you were doing all this?
When I was, yeah, like one of my most popular videos, like 26 million views, that was edited in math class.
Yeah. yeah,
wow.
Nice.
That was edited during calc. I was so over class, you know.
So wait, how old are you?
I'm 18 right now.
Oh, my God. You're killing it.
But
Killing it.
like, there's a reason why I don't talk about my age or show my face in videos, because I don't think people will trust the information I give out, especially because of my age,
Because of
Could
your
see
age.
that,
Yeah.
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 which
that's
is
fair.
completely fair, which is completely valid.
That's how people see. Yeah, makes
But
sense.
you have a demeanor. You literally have a doctor's demeanor. You know everything about.
Okay, that's something
plants
I'm big
and
on.
ecosystems.
Definitely do not know everything.
Oh,
And what
no, about
that's what I
plants and
love.
ecosystems.
But what I love is that there's always more to learn. Always new
That's-
discoveries.
yeah.
Always a new way to care for animals. You know, like that's what I love. I always love
So
improving.
wait,
and
you're only
changing.
18. Are you going to college?
Well, I got into every single school I applied to.
Okay.
And then YouTube
That's
took
good.
off, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, all right, YouTube or college? I was at this rope, right, where I'm not making enough money from YouTube to do a full-time job.
Yeah,
And college is, I got into all my dream schools. I worked for 12 years to get here.
dude.
Yeah.
And then it was like the last minute, I was like, all right, decline.
Ooh.
So you said no to all of them.
Said no to all
What
of
a
them.
2023
all in.
dilemma. YouTube
All
or
in.
college.
Yeah.
No,
No,
this is
but
the
it's-
first time in human history that those have been options.
That's
But you
right.
could either pay someone else that's a for-profit institution $300,000 to go
Right.
for 4 years and get a certificate that
Right.
you will literally never use,
Right.
unless you're going to continue on in
Right.
academics or get a PhD, or just
become
like
a
keep
doctor.
doing what you're already doing.
No, yeah.
Ironically, I get called a doctor by millions of people, but I don't have a degree.
And you,
Yeah.
or you could be like this kid Tommy, who I just hired, who's about to graduate from UCSB as a film studies major. He's never edited anything. He's never had to pick up a camera.
Oh,
he's done
really
all
talking
these things.
shit about Tommy,
Never
isn't
had
he?
to. 4 years, huh?
Nothing.
Tommy's a great kid. 4 years, of doing an undergraduate degree in film studies, and he's never had to pick up a camera.
Are you serious?
Never had to edit anything. Nothing. It's just all theory-based.
Like, the hands-on experience for me is by far the most important.
Of course.
That's-
Like,
that's
how you learn.
You can learn about handling a crocodile all you want, but you're never going to figure out how to handle it until you pick the thing up.
Right.
100%. I mean, that's the reality of life these days. I mean,
Do you get any like haters or people who are like, I'm a PhD student and you said this wrong, like on your YouTube? I don't know
No,
if you
because
read that stuff. But
99% of what I say is usually right.
yeah,
Gotcha.
he
And
literally has
take
spent a
that.
whole full quarter
he does
producing a
something
video.
called research, unlike
Yeah,
us.
the only
Never
thing
heard
is,
of it.
Yeah.
the videos are so
that?
heavily researched because when you're reaching tens of millions of people, you can't put out misinformation.
You would
Yeah.
feel like
You
there's
cannot.
a responsibility.
There's a responsibility there, absolutely. Like, you can't mess that up because
Yeah.
you're teaching the younger generations to take care of these animals.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put out false information. Oh, don't do this, don't do that. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah,
100%.
for
It
sure.
sounds like you're very careful about the decisions that you're making, and especially for somebody as young as you are. I know not to call out your age again. but
Yeah,
really.
But you have to be very
like,
cautious. Like, another reason why I don't want to say I'm 18. I don't want a bunch of other kids that are 18. Oh, let me go keep all these animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thinking it's so easy.
For sure.
I work around the clock. Like, coming here to see you guys on this podcast. This is my vacation.
Yeah.
My
yeah.
vacation
Us
right
too,
now.
by the way.
You guys do?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
This
first vacation.
Look
in
at how many
Yeah.
drinks Peter has on the table.
This
This
is
has got to
piling
last
up.
me 4 hours. I take this very seriously. I have no information to give. That's the thing. I'm just here for comedy relief.
Anyway, sorry. Please continue.
Yes.
Anyway, what other questions you guys have?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm here to
What-
talk.
What questions you got?
Well, no, I mean,
Well,
it's,
I having unfortunately not seen everything on your channel, what's the single like enclosure that you built that you're the most proud of? Like,
That's a good
the one that was
question.
going to be the
Great
hardest.
Well, I'm going to cut you off. Instead of most proud of, I'll do the craziest one.
all right.
So, my girlfriend did not like this at the time. So, I got to pick.
That's why you broke up with her.
Well, we were in a little bit of a rough patch.
Declined.
But no, this is why she wanted to break up with me. Get ready for this. So we had you know what a shadow box is, right? Like a picture frame. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
a picture frame's just like a flat frame. A shadow box is about
Oh yeah,
it's
like
a
the
few
deep
inches
one.
thick.
You like
Yeah.
put your little trophies and stuff.
So
in
imagine
it.
keeping
yeah.
70 wasps in a picture frame, an entire wasp colony.
Who thinks of these things?
So I started with a queen
plans.
wasp, right? Every wasp colony has a queen.
Yeah.
That lays all the eggs.
Yep.
Started with a queen and like a few workers. Over the course of like I don't know, it was a few months, the colony grew bigger and bigger and bigger inside this picture frame, right?
Right.
And there'll be a little door in the picture frame where I can open up and feed them, but they have facial recognition, right? These animals are very smart. Like
Yeah.
people don't realize how smart
Yeah.
wasps are.
That's
I've heard that before.
crazy.
So they would so in the video, I take my hand, cover it in honey, stick it into a nest with 70 wasps on it. Didn't get stung once.
Okay.
They were like, they knew that you
They
were
knew
feeding
that I'm
them.
food, exactly.
That's pretty wild.
That
this
is
in,
crazy.
'cause you're 18, so this is in your parents' house.
Yeah, they were not a fan either,
No. No. Absolutely
but
not.
it pays the bills.
That's hilarious. Good for you, man. That's cool.
Dude,
Do you
that
still
is
have the wasps?
incredible.
No, because the wasps are seasonal, right? So
Yeah.
over the winter, all the wasps die. Like that's why you
Right.
see all the wasp nests on your house in the winter empty.
Right.
And the only ones that survive over the winter are the queens.
Yeah.
The queens overwinter
What
underground.
species of wasp were you doing this with?
Polystites, paper wasp.
Paper wasp. Okay, gotcha.
Trying with bald-faced hornet next.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
little
you're
more
You're
aggressive.
gonna get stung a lot.
Not yet.
Maybe
yet.
that's the experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. That's cool. So what's the next big thing, like for you, for those watching, going to check out your channel from the podcast? What's the next?
Are
big
you
thing?
working
What
on
do
a
you mean,
video?
like my next big project?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your next big build. Your next
Well-
big project. What's your next queen wasp project?
Well, I feel like there's not enough attention to coral reefs and saltwater aquariums on YouTube. There's not that much out there.
Okay.
So next video, I'm going to
Okay.
simulate a coral reef in captivity, starting all the way down from plankton all the way up to predators in the ecosystem.
Wow.
Wow. How
That's
big's
gonna
that
be
tank gonna be?
awesome.
Keep that a surprise.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
It's gonna
He's
be-
going to the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
It's going to be like
No.
at least 5,000 gallons.
yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's anything less, you should be disappointed if you're watching this.
Like,
He's
I
furious.
promise you, there will be animals in this video that even you guys have never heard of before.
Whoa.
Promise.
I like that.
There's some really
I like that.
obscure animals.
Dude, that's awesome. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
I appreciate
yeah,
you, all
no,
right?
we're stoked. Yeah, great to have you on the pod. Great job with the YouTube stuff. I'm definitely watching all of these tonight. I'm
All
not
right,
even kidding.
thank you so
Doctor,
much.
Thanks
doctor,
for
can you do
coming.
me a
Doctor.
favor? If you ever do show your face on YouTube, can you please wear a lab coat?
Yeah.
I'll consider
Yeah,
it.
you
Okay.
must start considering a green lab
See
coat.
you later,
Later,
man.
See you, buddy.
Nice
oh, that was
talking
cool.
to you.
That was really interesting.
Dude,
It's just cool to
super
It's cool to
interesting.
meet someone who knows what they want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like by 18. Like, the only reason I went to college, I was like, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe I'll figure it out.
100%.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
I'll know in 4 years, and then you come out of college being like, I still have absolutely no idea.
What's your major?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm taking gen eds.
You graduate with a degree, and you're like, I'm still not sure what my major is.
I've never used
it was just like, this is all boring as hell.
I
don't
love
wanna-
that guy,
I don't
man.
wanna
He
do
is
anything.
super interesting. I am
pretty
gonna
wild.
peep that channel tonight.
Pretty wild. I realized that when Emma came on, I was like, all right, thanks for coming. We got to get to the next guest after 10 minutes and not 20. I realized I did that.
Sorry,
There's no timer.
There's no kids here. Yeah, you
There's no
fucked that
kids.
up.
We're
Oh,
fine.
is that
I
why
did.
Kyle was like throwing the timer at the table?
Yeah. I realized what I did. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know. But we
my
got Sarah
God.
now. Sarah's over there. She's going to help keep people on track.
Hey, Sarah. Billy is furiously talking on the
We've got
phone.
13 minutes.
Billy
till
looks
next
like our
guest.
manager.
Can you open me another fat tire,
I
please?
can. Yeah, I can get right
Thank
on
you.
that. And while I'm doing that, why don't you let those that are watching live know a little bit about how AnimalCon's going? What did our delightful
I can
pool
talk
meal
about it.
last night?
Yeah, I'll tell
How many
everything.
drinks
Are you
have
gonna go
have
take
you
a pee?
had so far?
I've just
I'm gonna open him a
I've
beer
been
and take a
drinking
pee.
since the plane yesterday.
You have.
What? I mean, you and I took a plane here together, Pat. It was really fun. You fell asleep twice on the
Yeah,
plane.
nodded off. I was in the middle seat.
You nodded off. I was wondering, are you on opiates?
Does any? Oh, thank you. I think it's very normal on a cross-country flight to fall asleep for 8 minutes.
Okay.
On a
I mean,
plane.
no, I was just asking.
You were
It
just
wasn't-
guzzling booze.
Well, yeah.
And you were offended that
You
I fell
you
asleep.
called me the night before and you said you have to go to the store right now and buy
Oh, look at
least
this guy. I recognize this guy.
at least a dozen airplane bottles.
Corbin Maxey taking in this. He'll be on, I think, tomorrow. or
Yeah,
maybe
Corbin's
later.
going to be on. Corbin Maxey.
Yeah.
AnimalCon's been fun. I mean, what did you do this morning? Did you walk around and
Dude,
see the monkey?
No, so there's a monkey right across from us that we were checking out last night. I don't know if anyone's gone over to see the monkey yet. You can buy a monkey mug for $48.
I forget his name, but yeah, these monkeys are. Is there
I'd
multiple
like to get
monkeys?
the
in-
monkey on the show. I see one monkey.
Well, there's already a monkey on the show. That's me.
Yeah.
I'm the monkey.
What do you
on the
think
show.
Forrest is doing? He said he was going to go pee, but instead he just disappeared.
I think he's just taking a break. It's hard to be
What
the
are you
host of a
doing?
show.
Asking Kyle how our tech problems were going.
And
Sure.
how are they going? Did you listen to what he said, or did you just not do that thing where you don't listen?
No, he did.
Yeah, I'm stuck on a podcast with two people who like have the worst ADD I've ever
Well, I
experienced
will
in
say,
my life.
so I got up this morning late,
Yep, I know.
feeling good.
Yep, in the hood.
Somebody that was a brosner last night bought us a shot.
Yeah,
But it
Andy.
turned out it was 4 shots
yeah.
in the same glass.
Yep,
So that really ended the night for me.
Yeah.
It was 4 kinds of whiskey.
it was
I don't
delicious.
know why you thought that was a good idea, but thank you.
Well,
but
thank
got up
you,
and did a
Andy.
little workout. 20 minutes.
20-minute
Feeling-
workout?
Feeling great. Like
What
just
kind of
feel
workout
like
did
I'm
you
on
do?
Vacation.
Yeah.
Just slowly lifting while watching TV.
You know what my workout was? I did it last night. I ordered $30 worth of White Castle.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I had it. Uber
That
Eats did
is-
to me.
That's disgusting.
It was not. It was good. I had 6
never
jalapeno
had
cheese
it.
sliders,
6.
and then a thing of chicken rings and 6 cheese sticks. But I still look buff.
So you went nuts because I know what that is. Where you're just like, this looks good. This looks good.
White Castle is
I'm
like
away from my wife. I'm just gonna order everything that I'm ashamed to eat in front of her. Yeah.
White Castle is something that has been part. It was part of my younger
We didn't
age.
have it in upstate New York. We don't have White
We had it in
Castle.
the Midwest, and you could buy a sandwich with cheese on it for a nickel. And I was young, so I would like buy a sandwich with just cheese on it, and they would give it to me for a nickel.
Well, knowing you probably got $1's worth.
Yeah, of course. I had how many
Did you get
nickels? was
20
in?
of them?
I got 20.
I'm curious.
20
What do you,
cheese
what are
sandwiches.
the, so are you guys all like AnimalCon creators as well? Okay. I don't know. I've never been here before. They said it was. Okay.
What's your name? What's your name, dude? Josh.
Josh.
You been watching the Wild Times for a while? Nice. Out in California over there?
No.
Oh, in Chicago. Sorry.
Do you know where you're from, sir?
Dude. All right. It was
What's-
a mental mistake. Where at abouts out there? Oh yeah, dude. I used to work on a farm that had a stand in Orland Park. Dude, yeah.
Is that Forrest's book? Packed full of lies.
Let's do brunch.
I never said let's do brunch. I swear to God. I just want to clear this up. He's misremembering. He suggested brunch at this fancy place because he knew I was paying, and then brought his wife to get like a free meal, and they were shoveling caviar down their gullets like they were pelicans.
Pelicans.
And, drinking mimosas, and then stuck me with the bill. But we got a show and a podcast.
Hey, it's Andy. We were just talking about the shots you force-fed us last night.
Yeah, we were.
No, but I mean, really, that's what you do. If some like big shot or a guy who thinks he's a big shot Hollywood producer approaches you to do a show, of course you're going to be like, yeah, let's go to the most expensive spot.
Yeah, he did.
You did. He did it.
$350. And I was like, I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and I was driving back stressed out. I was like, I'm never getting that back. Like, this is never going to pay off.
Dude, and then
in the
Extinctor
poorhouse.
Alive came to the forefront.
Yeah, and 5 or 6
We were
Shark
just
Weeks.
talking about how Pat made you famous with Extinctor
Hey, we got a
Alive.
question. We got a question.
Question.
Sure.
Why are you asking me? I
These
don't
are the
know.
only
Are they
ones
for
we
sale?
made, but we'll definitely.
Yes, we will.
We'll probably give you one.
We'll give you one if
Yeah.
you want one.
Which one? Well, by the way, which one do you like better, the white or the black?
Can we?
I designed that. Kyle technically designed it, but
can
I
we
picked the
switch
white.
to the one of the whatever angles. It's
Yeah,
got.
these are pretty fly.
Yeah, Kyle designed these hats.
I like how Patrick just took full credit. He's like, I designed it. Well, actually, I didn't.
I took
Kyle
the
literally
logo.
did everything, but I suggested
No,
it be in
I
white.
took the logo, put it on a white hat. Was like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
gonna be
he
cool.
picked the white
I
hat.
don't see a lot of white hats.
That's
It's
true.
nice, dude.
That's
You did
true.
a good job.
Kyle, how do you feel about him just taking all your credit? Kyle's not on camera on this
He's
one.
a credit thief.
He's okay with it.
Yeah.
He's good with it. This is good. Did you guys bring people up to speed on the whole thing?
I think
We
so.
talked about how your book is packed full of lies,
Oh, okay. That's nice.
just in one section. Just in one
Okay.
section. Everything
the-
else.
the brunch section?
The brunch
Yeah,
and
exactly.
caviar
He
meal. that
brought
you-
up the brunch again.
yeah, you
He'll
brought.
never let that go.
Well,
ever.
He's sitting there holding the book.
He's got the book.
Who do you believe?
You can save for it.
What?
He said he pleads
The
fifth.
truth is usually somewhere between the two
That's
sides.
true, that's true.
Memories do tend to skew
That's very
things.
true.
Yeah. We
Let's
got
do
some
brunch.
newcomers here. Who are we waiting for next? Who's coming?
Oh, I don't know. Who's on next?
Bird Tricks.
Dave Womack
Dave
is on
Oh,
Womack.
next.
Dave. Where
Bird
is Dave?
Tricks.
Dave, that's his booth right there. Come on, Dave. Get up
Oh,
here. What are you
you're
doing?
here, dude. Let
Let's
us
go.
go.
Yeah, I didn't know
Come
you were standing
on.
there. You're just sitting here.
Bird Tricks in the house.
All right. Oh, boy. Do we have something cool to talk about with Dave? What's up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
Good. How
Good
are
to see
you?
you.
What's up,
Yeah,
buddy?
Good to see you. I don't know what they're doing. Dave,
I'm
welcome to the
here.
Wild
I'm here
Times.
for it.
Thank you.
How are you, man?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Thanks.
For those that don't
I
know what
already
you do,
love
give
Dave.
us dude, just wait till I'm gonna get into a whole thing. Can I talk about the
You
thing?
can talk about whatever
Okay.
you want.
But
Is this
thing,
what you
though,
guys
know
did
what I'm
last
talking
night
I
in
don't.
your hotel
yeah,
room?
yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we had sex.
Oh my God! Calm
No,
down. We have
not
children.
together, but-
Relax.
No, independently.
Oh,
We just
oh,
watched
It was
each
just
other.
at the same
Copy,
time.
Yeah.
copy
Yeah.
that. Copy
Okay.
that.
No, okay. Well, first of all, before we get into the thing that I want to tell them about, because it's super exciting, explain to our audience what you do, who you are, so on and so forth.
So yeah, that's a tough one. My real name's Dave Womack. I am a parrot trainer, and that started from my fake name, David Da Vinci, through illusionist. So I do magic and illusions, and it started
He's
with me
good.
doing a
Really
dove
good.
act, and I
He
wanted
loves
to.
magic, too.
Wow.
I wanted to add a parrot, and my parents had a blue and gold macaw that was more or less a trophy pet. You know, we go back 30 years, and that's kind of what they were. People didn't know.
Is he still with us?
He is still, yeah. His name's
Dude,
Tico.
They live forever.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so I wanted to put this macaw in my magic show and realized very quickly that, one, he was mean, but two, a little bit of training like made him nice. And so that was back in high school, and I went on to win awards with my magic show, and the parrots became a bigger and bigger part of the show. And then we realized that we could teach people how to train their parrots, and so now we have 2 write-offs.
What's
Wow.
what's
2
an example of a
write-offs.
trick? Not how you do it, but like, what is the audience seeing? What's a parrot? I've never seen a magician with a parrot.
Yeah, so you'll see tomorrow at noon.
Okay.
Yeah. We're doing a show.
You're going to
Nice.
want to like cancel the show, head over there.
Whatever, we'll just
We
bring the
need that
cameras
floating camera.
Yeah.
Kyle!
So, I mean, to give an
Kyle!
example, like, I mean, a magician makes things appear, disappear, cut in half, restore, predict, and there's like 8 different magic tricks or effects we can do. And so, honestly, the easiest one that we like to incorporate is changing something into a parrot or making a parrot appear. But we do have a really fun bit in the show where the parrot's kind of cheeky tomorrow. So
Sure,
she screws with the magician.
And this is, by the way, this is a whole family affair.
Oh,
Dave's wife
wow.
Jamie's coming on tomorrow, and may or may not be bringing a parrot with her
Okay.
on the Wild Times.
All right, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, you would. Okay, I want to get into something here.
Yeah.
We're
Get
going to play a
into it,
game.
baby.
Ready for a game?
Wow.
We're doing an
games.
on-air
Yes,
live
live
game.
game?
All right, you
Wow.
want to know what that game is?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to play the TV exec game.
Ah.
Okay?
Oh my
All right,
God.
you two are the executives. I'm at the network. I am the producer of
Let
the
me-
show,
let me
and
get
this
my
is the host.
executive
Can you
face
put your
on.
Can you put your shitty hats on? Thank you. Those are going to be their executives' hats. Okay.
my head.
Yeah, way too small for your head.
Yeah, you gotta resize that.
All
Son.
right, go ahead. I'll
Okay.
resize the hat.
All right, do you want guys? Thank you so much for taking the meeting with Dave and I today.
Yes. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna warn you. We do have to jump in 5. So
That sounds
Well, I
about
think
right.
it's
Okay.
about 3.
All right.
so
Well,
that-
you know what? Let's get right into it. Let me pitch you a show. Okay, my name's Forrest Galante, executive producer.
Never
Over
heard-
here we
yeah.
have Dave Womack, also known as Bird Tricks.
Bird
okay?
Tricks.
Hello,
Yeah,
Bird.
Very
you guys are
popular.
familiar.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
YouTube,
Mr.
of
Tricks,
course.
yeah.
Okay. Now, for what you guys know, Dave does magic. He does stuff with his birds. He trains
Heard about
parrots.
this.
Remarkable. But what you don't know is Dave over here is part bird himself.
What? Okay.
This
Okay.
is shocking.
They're
Just a little bit. Now,
They're
yeah.
intrigued. Okay, this is good. We might have something here. Okay, guys. Here's the thing.
Very
Dave
intrigued.
is an expert wingsuiter. Okay, he likes to
Ah.
jump out of hot air balloons with a wingsuit with a bird. That's
What?
right. He will fly out of a hot air balloon over Las Vegas with a peregrine falcon diving at top velocity right next to and with him, and has filmed this.
Look, give us a minute.
I'm ready to go.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I'm so-
all right.
All right.
So we got a show.
So
All
when,
right,
when he
but
said he's
no,
got to
all
jump in
jokes-
3 minutes, like that was literal to me because we'd go up in the hot air balloon, it would float 12,000 feet above the desert, and we're like, the crazy thing about jumping from a balloon versus a plane is like, the plane you know you're going to exit. They're
Yeah.
like we're over the drop zone. We've traveled 30 miles from the time the balloon goes up, so we have no idea where we're going to land. So you just kind of get up there, and it's the trippiest thing. It's silent, and my family has been up there multiple times when I jump, and it's just quiet. And it's like, oh, you ready? See ya. And it's just and you're
Dude,
gone,
yeah,
and it's wild.
in silence, like in a plane.
Yeah.
Because I've gone skydiving, it's like it's
Oh, it's
very
chaos.
like.
Yeah.
You're jumping from just a silent
And
basket.
he's just in this wingsuit with a peregrine falcon, and he just like throws the bird out and then just jumps out of the hot air balloon. And they fly together.
Mike,
That
Real
is-
story.
I mean, that's so absurd. I don't know what to say about it.
Well, you could check with Mr. Galante because he's got the video of it.
I
so.
do.
Dude,
Yeah.
I do. We
is this
filmed
on
it.
YouTube as well?
It's on Vimeo at the
right?
moment. Yeah, there was a little YouTube snag, and so it was on
Okay.
YouTube. It was doing really, really well, and then it wasn't, and so now it's just on my Vimeo account.
Gotcha.
But it's
I
fascinating.
gotta
I
see
mean,
this.
how cool is that? Like,
So did the Falcon actually go into a dive?
Yeah, so pretty wild.
I know how hard it was. With
ugh.
so we tried to like sort of put this together and turn it into something that we could take out and whatnot. And it's just so Dave went to film it, and of course it's not like I could send Mitch to do this, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Is he scared?
No, he just doesn't wingsuit like you.
Okay. all
he
right.
just stands in between rhinos and forest.
And,
Okay.
and so
Safari.
Dave went to film it with Jamie and the family, and explain what the biggest hiccup was with the bird and everything.
Yeah, so there was
Not
like
what you
any
expect.
first of something, it's you run into things that you don't expect. And so first of all, the falconer couldn't show up the first 2 days. Second, a couple days beforehand, my camera guy bails. So
God.
trying to find a camera guy who can fly a wingsuit next to you, like
man.
we're not just like falling at random rates. I mean, you are, but we have to modify our body position and everything to fly close to each other, and then we can control our speed by ducking down. Then I have to flip to my back.
Wow.
And I've got a lure in my hand. So like you have falconry lures. This is actually was a quail.
Yeah.
And so we had to get the lure correct where it would not be violently spinning, and that took multiple attempts and jumps. But every morning for 9 days, I'd wake up to the sunrise at 12,000 feet above the ground in the
Yeah.
desert, and it was unbelievable. And one of the big challenges was getting the bird to follow us. So even though I'm only going 140 miles an hour,
Only 140.
she
yeah.
can, well, I've hit 192, which is why we don't do this with my macaws, because they can maybe hit 70 with like a backwind and like
Yeah.
totally tucked. But
that actually makes it way more interesting that the falcon you have goes what 200 miles.
242 miles per hour.
That's wild.
Yeah,
dude.
and
Wild.
so I would
Lord.
jump, and we have my camera guy. So there's a few things that cause this to be an interesting story. One, the bird has to be desensitized to a wingsuit. How do you do that without actually doing it?
Yeah.
Second, we cover 30 miles. How do we get that bird back? Right? And
Yeah.
this was really cool. The falconer that I work with, Daryl Peterson, awesome trainer, and this bird like followed the balloon because at first she's like, "Where the hell's that guy going?"
What's going on?
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
hell is going on?
Right. It's
Yeah.
not like you can just tell the
Chaos.
bird, hey, stay with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So jump 8, we finally figured out that like every day we get a
Jump
data
8.
point of what worked and what didn't work, and then we would debrief, and then we
Yeah.
would try to like. I mean, we're training this animal live in the sky under in extreme pressure, and so day 8, I jumped out. Actually, let me go back a day. Day 7, we took a GoPro 360 and we hung it like 50 feet below the balloons. You have the most epic shot of us just diving.
Yeah.
and then you hear this like, it sounds like a rocket as we go
Dude.
by. And then you see the peregrine like engage us, and she's flipping and dives down. And that was the day we're like, okay, we know that we have her. But then the GoPro looks a lot like a lure. So I have this really cool shot I'll have to show you where she came and she like grabbed the GoPro, but it's a 360 camera, so she took a selfie of herself. I'll show you.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
But day 8, I leave the balloon, and we'd kind of realized that although she was capable of going that fast, if we kept going straight, we would lose her interest. And so I realized I wanted to flip to my back and then spiral underneath the balloon in a 360
wingsuit while falling out of the
Yeah,
sky.
yeah,
by the
yeah,
way.
it's the craziest thing I've ever heard of to try to visualize.
in that process, I could see her fold up and then dive down after me, and it was unbelievable. You know, people talk about that teardrop look.
Look at that. For those watching, this is pretty wild.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
she
grabbing
like
the GoPro out of the sky on Dave's back.
Nice.
pretty wild, right?
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Crazy.
But day 8, I look over, and I'm like I said, I'm doing 140 miles an hour, and I look off my right wing, and we think in wingsuits we think we're flying like this. We're not. We're falling at a 45 like this.
Oh,
sure.
interesting.
Right? And
Sure.
so the perception is that we just think we're just cruising like we're flat, and we're not. But I look over, she is not even flapping. She's just looking at me. We make eye contact. I got an open face helmet. We make eye contact, and I'm like, she's not even half cocked, man. She didn't even
Nothing.
try, not a flap. And I'm like, those things. If you do a high altitude jump from like 18,000 to sea level, your wings are tired.
Yeah.
Like we're not designed for flight.
Right.
And she didn't even flap, and she's just looking at me like, "What's up, dude? Let's turn it up."
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
That's
you're
so
going,
wild.
dude. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So
How
day 8
cool
was
is
the
that of a
breakthrough.
thing to do?
it's the coolest thing I've heard all day. Don't
Wingsuiting
tell anyone
with a
else.
falcon. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So
I
what
wonder-
made you want to jump out of this balloon? And was this like something you pitched and you were like, hey, let's
We were
do
working
this?
on it. It just the state of TV and all of that. It just sort of it came to a screeching halt. But Dave was going to do it. So Dave was wingsuiting a
Yep.
lot, and then I met him here at AnimalCon a year ago, and he was telling me about all his work with birds, and I was like, "You're flying with your birds, right?" And he's like, "Well, not yet." And I was like, "Yes, you are."
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was his idea, not mine. I don't want to take credit for it, but I was like, we got to figure out how to film this and do it all, and got sponsors on board. It was a whole thing. It was really cool.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it evolved quickly, but
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so when you say wingsuit, it's the same, like squirrel suit, right? It's the
yeah,
same thing.
I look
Yeah.
like a flying squirrel, although I think my glide ratio is better.
Okay. How do you do your first? Like, I get with parachuting, you do a bunch of tandem jumps, and then you have your first solo jump. I feel like it's kind of going from zero. Like, you don't do a tandem wingsuit jump, right?
Right.
There's
Yeah.
I believe there's one person in the world that does it, and
Okay.
knowing how it works, I question how safe that is.
So
Yeah,
how?
yeah.
But back to
the
Patrick's
first
point.
jump?
What is
Yeah.
the first jump? Like, at
So-
what point are you just like, all right, here we go?
yeah, you have to do 200 jumps before they put you in a straitjacket and throw you out of the plane, right? Because you are
Like regular skydive
regular
jumps?
skydives,
Gotcha.
200 from a plane from whatever aircraft, right? This is not base jump. This is I do it only strictly from aircraft, right? And a balloon counts. You can do it from a hang glider,
Yep.
whatever, like
Yeah.
something that's flying on purpose, as opposed to the edge of a cliff for
Sure.
my case.
Flying
But yeah,
on
so you do
purpose.
200 skydives.
What
and
about
then,
like something that's not flying on purpose? If you were to
Well,
dive off- no, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
no, we actually had a engine out. Not too well. You've experienced some interesting plane scenarios.
I've been in
right?
2 plane crashes.
Yeah, I almost was in one.
Yeah,
but,
they
Sorry,
suck.
I didn't mean to derail.
Okay,
no, it's
so-
good. It's good.
Yeah,
You're
so
good.
we you do 200 jumps. Fortunately, they didn't check my logbook, and so I was at like 182, and I went through a real brief course. And it's the guy that taught me. There wasn't a ton of like educational materials like there are now. So he's like, all right, here's how you exit. Here's how you pull your chute. And those are really 2 important things.
Very
Because the biggest
very
challenge on a wingsuit is if you think you're flying like this, you're going to stall. You need airspeed to actually fly. If you stall, you flip to your back and you spin violently for 21 seconds. Allegedly.
Jeez, before
Jesus.
smashing into the ground. and
Well, so we do have different
Violently
safety
dying.
procedures.
Yeah.
There's a little computer called an AAD, and so if I'm unconscious because I spun too much or I hit another buddy in the air, my reserve will go to 1,000 feet.
Are you hearing this? Are you hearing this?
I mean, like no person.
Patrick, I've
would-
seen
would
Patrick
do
break
this.
into a sweat and anxiety when there's traffic.
Or if there's like
Yeah.
a
Oh,
yeah.
raccoon
Yeah.
in his
Terrific.
backyard.
If there's a raccoon, yeah.
But yeah, then after you do 200 skydives, you get in a wingsuit.
but tell us about like the first wingsuit jump.
Yeah.
Oh, terrifying.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
like,
gotta be.
right?
It's gotta
Yeah.
be.
Where'd
So,
you jump out of a plane?
I jumped out of a plane
Yeah.
in Arizona, and it's amazing how sloppy we fly in the beginning.
Yeah,
like
I bet.
Oh,
as a
God,
human,
yeah.
okay, it's like we aren't designed to fly. So there's two things. One, it's amazing how intuitive it actually is.
Oh, interesting.
Unbelievable.
That's interesting.
But
Like
two,
just where to hold your arms and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
you feel it, which is really like that blows my mind right there.
Yeah,
like
sure.
evolutionary, we've never experienced that, right?
We've
Right.
never
Pharaohs,
flown.
and every time I jump, I'm like, pharaohs and kings from like ages ago, let alone like 200 years ago, that the richest of the rich could never do this, and I get
Right.
to do it for like $30 a jump. How cool
Yeah,
is that?
That's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah.
it is wild. So you did the first jump out in the desert.
Yep.
Terrified.
Yep. Yeah.
How is the landing? Like, how do you land?
You pull a chute.
Yeah,
right?
so you
They
do pull a
have-
parachute. So
Yeah.
the rig
which
has.
I will admit, I also just realized while talking to him.
Did you
I-
think that he just sort of comes in like a
Yeah.
squirrel and like catches his feet?
I did?
At
Really good
200
running
miles an
shoes.
hour?
Yeah.
I went bibbidi-bibbidi-bibbidi.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, no, so it's actually kind of interesting. For people watching, the visual makes sense, but at whatever deployment altitude we establish, typically you don't want to open below 3,500 for my level of experience, right? Which is about 600 jumps. So as you're about to go, I gain speed, and then I flare up, and right before the stall point, I close both wings. I grab its little like hockey puck size thing, or like a hacky sack, and you throw it as hard as you can symmetrically. If you don't do that, you get a lot of line twists. So you learn that the hard way a lot. You deploy the parachute like that, and you fly through it. It takes another 3 to 5 seconds before it starts to open.
So you're just falling for
You're
5
still
seconds.
falling. Yeah.
With no wings, though.
With no, well, yeah, you've killed all your airspeed.
I want to do a little Pat's math. Can we do a little Pat's math?
Sure. Oh, boy.
Pat's really good with numbers
Pat's
on the
math.
spot. You've done how many jumps, Dave?
About almost 600.
600 jumps. How long would you say an average flight time is?
So in a wingsuit,
In a
I'm hitting
wingsuit.
about 1.5 to 2 minutes on average.
Okay, well that's pretty easy math. But
Okay, a minute and 47
well, how
seconds.
many days is
47
that? How many hours,
How many
days?
days?
Hours.
So let's call it 2 minutes
Yeah.
times 600 jumps.
Yep.
So that's 30 jumps per hour. So 20 hours.
20 hours.
So less than a day.
Still, that's 20 hours he's just been flying with no
I
machines.
took a 5-hour flight yesterday. It was tough.
you don't even
It
work
was
that
brutal.
much in a
the
week.
drink service
I
was
no. Now I don't think I've worked that much in a year. No, that's amazing.
Dude.
Have you ever performed at Magic Castle, shifting gears?
So
in LA?
I haven't. I'm one of the few working magicians. Like I've done 75 countries, 6 continents, and
Yeah.
like I honestly, I don't live in California.
Yeah.
I live in the opposite of California, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Arizona, right?
North Idaho.
Oh, why did I think? you lived in
Well, we had to
Arizona?
do the stunt in Arizona.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
just
okay.
for terrain purposes.
Gotcha.
It's really bad to land in trees, so.
So no Magic Castle yet.
So no Magic Castle. I've been there. I personally, I don't really have the desire, to be honest. I'm happy doing what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Why would you?
Um,
It's not even in the state you live
What's
in.
what's your dream magic trick?
A
Is that a
dream
thing?
magic trick.
Dream Magic Show?
Trick to learn and like do. all
So
these tricks,
I'll
right?
say it's one that I've done in the show for a long time. Logistically, it's difficult, but we put it in on a cruise ship,
Okay.
which also has its own logistic difficulties when they drop cases in the water sometimes. Don't want to name names, but it sounds like Norwegian. So they do a show called Welcome Aboard, and that's where I would break in new material. And because of everybody else's contracts on the ship, I would perform at the end of the week, which is terrible. 7 to 9 o'clock. The 9 o'clock show, everybody's packing, and they're tired from drinking straight for a week.
Yeah.
So
sense.
I wanted to come up with like, how can I get enough people to want to come to the second show? And we were on the ship for the first 4 years of my daughter's life, so we had a lot of time to practice every week. So we put in an illusion called Submerged.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You were on a ship for the first 4 years of your daughter's life?
Yeah.
I mean, not 24/7, but pretty much.
11
right?
months a year.
11 months a
Yeah.
year. You were on a Norwegian cruise line.
Yeah.
By the way, that was probably awesome.
It
Yeah.
was, every morning it was like, what country are we in? Like,
Yeah.
hang on, let
How
me
fat
check.
did you get?
I didn't. I was thinner then, actually.
I would
What's
get
up?
so fat.
I
Can
would
you
be- I
imagine
would be
eating
a-
cruise ship buffet every
By,
morning?
by the way, cruise ship buffet. I do my job, which would be doing the
shows.
comedy,
Yep.
the shows, and then just gambling at night and going to bed. That's all there is to do on a cruise ship.
Yeah. Or you create new material.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
true,
So he-
true.
So,
So
he's doing the Welcome Aboard
Yep.
show.
And I wanted to put in something that made me look like the headliner. So, of course, if you're the last act of the opening show, you're probably the headliner.
You are the headliner.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the only way I could get them to do that is if the stage was too wet for dancers after me. So I used to be a free diver,
Interesting.
and I can hold my breath at 60 feet for about 3.5 minutes. And so I thought, how cool would this be if I do an escape? So I have somebody from the audience chain me up. They check the locks. It's actual padlocks. I've already shown them as a magician. I can pick locks. So I show them the clear lock on a big projection screen. And then the curtains open, and this doom, very, very treacherous music plays. And I go into this tank that's lit up in red lights, and they lock me in. They strap it down, and I have 3.5 minutes to pick all the locks. And it has a kicker ending. But that was honestly kind of like my dream trick. It soaked the stage. I had to be the closer, and then all of a sudden, my 7 and 9 o'clock shows were both packed every single
Nice.
cruise. So, but that's like, I liked combining. So I call myself a thrill illusionist. Obviously, I'm a thrill junkie.
Yep.
And I like mixing passions. And taking, what started with like a dove act, adding a parrot, learning to train parrots so I could have them in the show.
Yep.
We have them in arena shows with 20,000 people, and those birds have to come back to me. We have them 12,000 feet up in a balloon. They have to come back. Like, I love that kind of stuff. And then just tying in, like, free diving on the island of Saipan for 13 months when I lived there, doing 12 shows a week. I got pretty good at that. So I wanted to tie that into the magic. And it's just, it's
I
fun.
find that
You know what I love about
concept
Dave
terrifying.
is-
Yeah, tell us.
Before Dave came on the stage, you were the most interesting person I knew.
Oh,
Now Dave is certainly
He
the most
chains
interesting person
himself
I've ever
up.
met.
And
He's taking over.
Yeah, I'm out. All right.
all right.
Enjoy your
Hey, man, I
distribution.
appreciate it.
But no, I've got a question. It's real. You only have a couple more minutes, Dave. I know you're checking your phone. You have 5 more to hang with us.
I'm here as long as you guys need
All
me.
right. So let's say I get a parrot. When you get a parrot, you get a baby parrot, right? You get a little.
It depends. You see all these in here. Some of them are rescues.
Okay. So
There's
let's
a lot of
say
different ways.
I
But
acquire a new parrot.
Mhm.
I desperately want to teach the parrot to go fuck off.
yeah.
What's the time between when I start training it? Let's say you were training it. How quickly could you get a parrot to do that on command?
If you start with a rescue, it probably already says it.
okay.
and here's the thing. So we often say parrots are the 3rd most popular pet, but the number 1 most rehomed. They go through so many homes in their life, and they have the emotional, the cognitive ability of a 5-year-old child. So it's really traumatic for them to go from what was a stable home, and then all of a sudden the family splits.
out.
The child, there's a child born. And then this bird lives in a cage in a garage, and these are true stories that we hear. And so our motto at Bird Tricks is saving parrots 1 person at a time. And so jumping back to your story, you want the bird to say something. Typically, they will learn to say something at a heightened state, right? So I enter the room, hello. I leave the room, goodbye. I'm pissed off. They're going to curse at me. So what happens is they pair the behavior with the emotion involved. And that's, anthropomorphizing, but the best way to relay it is simple like that, right? So if every time you tell the bird to F off, it's pissed off, or you're pissed off, it's going to mirror that energy, and it's going to live in that constant state. So people that want a bird because they want it to talk are dealing with a bird that's constantly pissed off, and they have no idea. And
That
so
is crazy.
That's interesting.
yeah, so our job is to really educate people about and we go through it too. So my wife, you'll see Jinx up here, I think tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So she spent some time getting some vocalizations because people on Cameo love getting our bird Jinx to be requested for these personalized videos. And so she was teaching him to talk and sing, and it's it was great, but then he started being really aggressive to me, and I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right? So you put somebody who went and they bought a baby bird from anywhere. I point generically this way, not to single anybody out, but you buy a baby bird, you think you're doing it right. At about 2 years old, there's hormones. They're talking. They're pissed off. Their diet's not ever right. Their sleep's not right. And these are unbelievable, common things that happen. Yeah. So our goal, we take a lot of parrots and people, and we train the people how to train their parrot for free flight.
Sure.
And if you're willing to let your bird go outside and trust that it's going to come back to you, your foundations are in place.
Interesting.
And an educated calculation that your bird's going to come back.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
Not just
Yeah.
let it out. There's a long process for it.
For sure.
But those are the people that have the most success with their birds because they understand if their training wasn't good, they wouldn't take it outside.
Right.
Right?
Definitely.
And we toured with Ringling Brothers for 2 years, and I would always look at these arenas are 20,000 people, right? And we were headlining with the birds and the magic and the whole combination. And I look at the horses, and if a horse got spooked, it just goes to the corner of the building. If my bird gets spooked, it's
gone.
300 feet up, and
Right.
and there's 20,000 people. How are we going to get it back?
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of the ultimate test of
Yep.
and that's our job is just to educate people and then give them the tools to do it right because these birds, they live to be, like you said in the beginning, is Tico, our blue and gold, still around? Yeah, he's like 40 now.
So what do you do? So if teaching the bird to speak is something, a behavior that is teaches them it's bad for them essentially, or that emotionally charged behavior. How do you, calm a bird down? Like,
Yeah.
how do you keep them?
Think of it as yoga. You could go out and fight an MMA, and then how do you recenter yourself?
Yeah.
You probably have something. And so
Right.
we can get a bird to speak on cue, but we need to be aware that and recognize that they're likely at a heightened state
Right.
when they learn the behavior.
Yeah.
If it's continually reinforced at that level, then they'll constantly be in that heightened state. So we'll follow
Which
it up.
probably leads to anxiety and depression and all these other things. Like you
Yeah.
have to give them peaks and valleys like anything.
Yeah.
You know, you're containing an animal that naturally has a vast range, a vast social network, everything else. And you have to manipulate those emotions
Exactly.
for it. Otherwise,
Exactly.
it's just going to go insane, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And one of the very first things we do is we teach target training, where the bird is trained to touch a stick. In the beginning, I just wanted birds to do tricks. I thought this was the dumbest thing in the world. But then when we realized they pair the emotion with the behavior, what was happening is people were training targeting wrong. They would get the bird to bite the stick. Now we're putting aggression on cue.
Yeah.
Right.
But what we have done through our 20 years of doing this professionally is we've been able to find out different techniques where the bird can just barely touch the stick with its upper mandible. If you hold it the right spot, it can only reach with its upper mandible and or its tongue, and it's really tough to lick something and be pissed off.
Huh.
So we put target
It's like
on
drinking
cue.
through a straw.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, what are you going to fight somebody while you're
No.
sipping through a straw?
Unless it's a
You can't
cardboard
drink out of
straw.
a
I hate
straw.
that.
They're
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
So
right.
we could do talking behaviors where we know the bird's heightened, and then immediately bring that bird back down to a behavior we know that it's more likely to be calm because we've
That's
conditioned touch the stick with your tongue or the outer part of your upper mandible. That's not aggressive behavior versus like if we were targeting. People see this online, they're like, oh, my bird will touch a stick, but all they're doing is reinforcing biting and aggression.
Right.
And then they wonder why,
It sounds very nuanced. Like,
It
it's
is,
like
for sure. And you have to
yeah.
understand the bird itself.
Yeah.
Not just
A
birds, but
personality.
the individual bird.
Yeah.
you know what's
right?
worse though?
What?
It's the human.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
yeah,
a
we're
book
all-
called The
humans
5
are
Languages
horrible.
of Love, right? And it's we give and receive love in one of 5 different ways.
My
It's
wife always talks about
Yeah.
this shit. It's
Quality
like touch,
time.
feel,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. I
quality
don't know.
time, acts of service,
All the women here are all like,
physical touch, words of affirmation,
All
or
one
gifts.
of them.
Yeah.
Two.
The
Sorry.
two.
One of them being Dave's wife.
But our clients are like, oh, I don't know why he doesn't love me. I get him all the toys. Okay, that person's probably gifts. So how do I coach that person through giving gifts in a way that pairs calm? Or more common than not, they're quality time. They just want the bird to hang out. This bird doesn't want to hang out because the owner sucks.
Right.
Or they want physical touch, and we can train a bird to accept physical touch and be okay with it. So there's
Yeah.
just we have to look at what the human really wants, and how do we pair our training methods with psychologically what that human actually needs. So we're listening more to what the client says
Yeah.
and implying more human psychology.
You're not training birds. You're training people.
You're 100% right.
Fascinating.
No,
That's
it's
so
great.
interesting.
Yeah.
He's not
Dave,
training birds. He's training people.
He's training people.
And he does
training
celebrities,
people.
by the way. We're going to talk to Jamie about that tomorrow a little bit. But they do
Yeah.
like all these celebrity birds and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Dude, I wish we had more
Hey, man,
time.
wish
thank
we had
you.
more time,
Thanks
man.
always.
I
It's always
appreciate
a pleasure
it.
to see
That
you.
was so.
Peter loves you. He's your biggest fan now.
I'm gonna hang out
Yeah.
after the
You
show's
gonna go
over.
wingsuit?
Probably.
No, you're
Yeah.
not.
Dude,
Shut
I'll
up.
wingsuit. I only need to do 200 jumps.
Solo though.
Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you.
man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it, buddy.
That was awesome.
All right. Well, I see our next guest here. He's already in the crowd.
Why are you pretending to look so
He's-
far away?
He's showing off his pit stains. They're formidable.
Get over here, you. It's the man.
Yeah. Woo!
Brian Barczyk,
Brian,
everybody.
Set this
Yeah,
whole thing
big
up.
friend of the pod,
podcast.
friend of everybody. Everybody loves Brian. What's up, buddy?
What's
How you
going
doing?
on,
What's
man?
up,
What's going
man?
on, guys? It's great to see you in
How are ya?
person. You
Great
know,
to
I'm
see
doing
you too,
great,
man.
Hey, first of all, for everybody watching this, thank you. Because you set all this up. I don't just mean AnimalCon. I mean the pod, the whole Wild Times
Yeah,
Live.
man.
This is
Yeah.
all you. This was
Yeah.
put this together,
Wow.
allowing
Incredible.
this live stream to happen. This is amazing.
Well, thank you guys, and I mean, you guys are great. I mean, I love watching you all the time. I love being your friends, and so for you guys to actually be here is amazing. I mean, it brings a whole nother level of like dynamic to the show, and I think it's great. Not to mention, I think for the creators to get a chance to hang out and talk to you guys, and your audience
Yeah.
to get to know
Same.
people. I mean, it's awesome.
Bringing
I mean,
all
it's
these
just-
creators together, dude. Even just this, I'm the everyman on the podcast. I don't know that much. I'm not an expert on animals or anything, but talking to everybody and at the event and everything is really like. You don't get like your curiosity doesn't get that much sparked when you're a middle-aged man. And
That's true.
And
That's a
I'm
good
like,
point.
this is like I'm like
He was just frothing at Dave Womack.
I
think.
know.
Yeah, he really was.
I really was.
So okay, look, you're a friend of the pod. You've been on the Wild Times a bunch.
yep.
Everybody that watches our show probably knows who you are. So instead of doing the typical like tell
Yep.
us your story,
Yeah.
tell us about AnimalCon.
Yeah, I mean, so it really was a brainchild. I was going to VidCon and Playlist Live, which are big YouTube events. I've been doing them for years.
VidCon and?
VidCon, which is in California and LA,
Okay.
and then Playlist was in Orlando.
Okay.
And
Playlist Live.
Yeah,
Can you guys
Playlist
hear?
Live, yep. And
Can you speak up a little bit, Brian?
I'm sorry.
If you can.
Yeah, of
We
course.
don't have speakers. Up
Yeah,
there.
I gotcha.
We will, though.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah, so I would go to Playlist Live and VidCon, which were YouTube creator events. But, you go there and there'd be maybe 2 or 3 animal creators.
Can I ask you a question quickly? How silly were the people at these YouTube conventions?
Oh, my God. Well, number one, I can tell you the difference
Can you
between
imagine?
AnimalCon and
Sure
VidCon
can.
is there's a lot less 13-year-old screaming girls.
Yeah, that adds up.
Because VidCon is like I'd hang out with like David Dobrik or Logan Paul or something like that, and you'd walk out the door and it'd just be like the Beatles just showed up,
Oh,
It was
Sure,
just like,
yeah.
oh my gosh,
interesting.
and it screamed. It was crazy. So we're a little bit more mature here,
Yeah.
which is good. But so my point was that I thought to myself, like, why can't we do this same format? But just for animal people.
Sure, sure.
Because, that's what it is. And it was funny. I was just up on stage doing a thing, and I was watching it, and I'm just like, oh, my God, there's Tana Serpent design. There's, Ben from Urban Jungle,
Right, all these
Everybody.
There's all these people. I'm like, and they're just like sitting around talking. I'm like, I want to be in that conversation.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
kind of what AnimalCon is
Sure.
that people can come and be in that conversation like what's happening right now with Jay Brewer and these guys, and you can kind of hear what people think. So it was just a brainchild of mine, and I'm so grateful that we had, you were here for year 1. Now you guys are here for year 2. And like I said, you guys are always welcome back with the podcast. We'll do everything we do to keep you guys happy. And,
thank you.
and so it's just a place to bring people together and hopefully touch them with that message of love of animals, right?
Sure.
Because that's all I do in life. That's all that matters in life to me is touching people with the idea of like wildlife is so amazing. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
here's something funny to talk about. You know how much I pay attention. Do we get a lot of hate comments on the Wild Times?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Oh,
so
I
interesting.
do.
I figured, but I just wanted to check. Brian and I were just up there. We did like the opening panel a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm sitting there, really out of place. I don't know why this guy always thinks I deserve to be up there with these people,
You-
but they
you
all
are-
have millions and millions of like subscribers and followers. And one of the topics that came up was hate.
Yeah.
It like, I look at someone like Brian, okay, and I'm like, nobody can dislike this fucking guy.
No, dude.
Like, not just because he's so
No
likable,
joke.
but all he does is like try and make people care about animals. All he thinks and lives and breathes is for animals. Like, his family adores him. Everybody that knows him adores. He's like the most likable
Just the
fucking human being.
effort to set up an event like this.
Right.
Like, what are you, like, you're not even, you're
All
not
right.
getting that much
But
out
the
of it.
point is,
You know where I'm going.
How are you going to get really pissed off at Brian?
And people do,
Enough to
and
be
they
like-
get pissed off at us and everything else. And so
But
I
we're
thought,
dislikable.
well, we're very dislikable, but
No,
Brian
no,
isn't.
no.
But regardless, my point is, it was interesting being up there with this panel of these giants that all care about like wildlife and have promoted all and animals and stuff, Dingo and these other guys, and everybody gets this negativity, which is crazy. So anyway, I was thinking maybe you could just, because it was interesting listening to you speak up there, but our audience didn't get to hear that. Maybe you could tell these guys in the audience a little bit
I'd
about
love that.
how that goes. It's just
Yeah, it was-
fascinating. 'Cause
yeah,
you
it
just
was-
think, how can people hate people that just care about critters?
Well, I think you're right. I think that it was an interesting thing because like I was for 25 years before YouTube and even 10 years of doing YouTube, I was like the golden child. You know what I mean? Like you said, you couldn't find anybody to say a bad word. And,
Right.
And it's like I always said, like if yeah,
Sorry.
it's like I've said, anybody that spent 5 minutes with me, you may be like, I don't like the way you guy talks, or I don't like, but like to hate me, it's like I don't know.
Over
like,
the internet.
Like if you
weird.
spent 5 minutes with me, there's no way you could hate me. But yet I went from like being this golden child of like can't do anything wrong to all of a sudden, it like literally overnight.
Why did that happen? Do you
I think it was success. What happened is it correlated when I started to pop on the internet.
Yeah,
and I
of
went from
course.
like
People hate
the
success.
almost
They
like
hate
the
it.
homegrown, like you're the reptile homegrown guy, to all of a sudden now you're hanging out with bigger YouTube
Also,
celebrities.
your
and-
audience is now much broader and larger,
Yeah.
so you're
Right.
bringing in like there's a lot more trolls in
Yeah.
the general population.
Yeah, and I just,
Totally.
but interestingly enough, it was the ex-loyal people that became the haters. As a matter of fact, I just literally,
Really?
after that panel, I talked with someone that was in the audience, and she came up and she said that. She goes, honestly, during that period of time, she goes, I watched you every day. And she said, and then all of a sudden people were saying what a bad guy you were. And she said, I stopped watching you. And she said, and then like a year and a half later, I thought, why did I stop watching this guy? You know,
Interesting.
And so I think
Peer
that it's
pressure.
like a pack mentality.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why it's interesting when you have, you know, the Mr. Beasts of the world. Although he's just recently gotten a lot of hate.
Has
you
he?
know,
And Mr. Beast is like doing all this
philanthropic stuff.
Philanthropy.
Yeah, he gives more money away.
Wait.
Sorry.
Say the word.
Philanthropical.
Yep, got it.
There you
Nailed
go. That's
it.
pretty good.
Yep,
It's pretty
that's
good.
I'm saying, Mr.
Well,
Beast
also-
is doing all these
also-
good things.
I'm very tempted because they have them at 7-Eleven, the Mr. Beast little crunch bars.
I've never tried one.
They're at the counter, and
I was there the day I was with Mr. Beast the day that they launched Feastables.
Yeah.
And they literally, we had like this huge set, and they had 2 big front end loaders full of, I mean, they had like, they paid someone, they paid, I think there was 3 girls, they paid for like 2 days in a row to just unwrap candy bars and put them in this front end loader.
Oh,
and then
wow.
they went up over the top of the wall and dumped thousands of candy bars on top of us.
Oh,
like
wow.
not on top of us,
That
but
sounds
like
really
right
fun,
next to
actually.
Yeah.
And so
That's
yeah.
like every little kid. If
you
you
try
told
one?
my son that you could dump a metric ton of candy on him, he
Yeah.
would be thrilled.
Well, that was the thing. Like after the shoot, we were like, "Can we just take the candy?" You know, because it's all just on the ground, you know. And they're like, "Yeah, take what you want." So before it was even launched, I had boxes and boxes. It's actually pretty good.
There you
Yeah.
go.
You know, and it's
No, but,
healthier for you.
Back to your point, though, like Mr. Beast, like he wasn't hated until he got huge.
Yeah,
and then
and-
you just have like, you know,
Yeah.
because you have that broader audience come in, you're never. But so how do you handle that? Like, what
Well, I
do you
think
do?
that
Ignore it.
really the way I handle it, I handled it very poorly at first. You know, like I mean, like I was like, what do you? Because I had never been hated like my whole life, you know, and all of a sudden it's like you can't get away from the hate. So at first it was very. At first I tried to stop it, like. Wait a second. You
Delete.
don't No. I never delete a comment. I've never deleted a comment. But I would like not argue with them. I would just be like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's I've never done that. Like people would say like, oh, you kept monitor lizards in a drawer, and I'm like, I've never done that. And,
Yeah.
and then it just becomes like, well, no, you did. What do you mean? I
Yeah.
I
Where?
never did this, you
Right.
know. And
Yeah.
there was actually like a picture that went around where I was, which is my mistake. I shouldn't probably have done this, but I was holding and I was at an event in Oregon, and a guy literally was like, "Hey, I do venomoid snakes. This is a venomoid gaboon viper." And he handed me
What's
this.
venomoid?
So they take the venom glands out. Now, in the
know
reptile
you could do
world,
that.
people hate it.
I didn't even know you could do that.
It's like
can do-
declawing a cat.
It's like declawing a cat.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And so I probably shouldn't have taken a picture with this venomoid animal. It pissed some people off. But then what ended up happening is another guy.
But just let me interrupt you for a second. You can't live your life like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No
Like,
normal
I
person.
shouldn't take that picture
No.
with that venomoid snake because this niche community of angry people is gonna. It's like.
No, you can't,
live
and
your life
nobody
like
does.
that.
Nobody does live their life like that.
But it's like
Well, I
hard
think
to
that-
operate.
So basically,
Yeah.
it's just a moment. You're
Yeah,
just
you
like,
just
"Oh, I'll
have to.
take the
Yeah, I
picture."
mean,
Right.
yeah. I mean, literally, the guy handed it to me. I was like, I love gaboon vipers. I'm never going to hold a gaboon viper, you know,
Right,
if I
free
hand.
handling
And now
it,
it's like,
yeah.
wow, this is pretty
Yeah, it's
cool.
like a- kinda
but
like a dream
but
of
what
yours.
happened was literally a guy took the same guy later in the day. I was not around, did not witness this. I didn't have anything to do with this. I guess some like 10-year-old kids-ish were holding a rattlesnake with this venomoid
Smart,
rattlesnake,
really
right?
smart.
And so someone took my picture of the gaboon viper and then put the kids next to it.
Oh
and there
my
was two
God.
different pictures. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, two different backgrounds, the whole shot. And it just said, "Can you believe Brian would do this?" And then, and literally 2 years, I'll tell you, so for 2 years I heard it, so much so that the director of the Bronx Zoo, I went to go visit the Bronx Zoo, and he was like, "Brian, you know, I've always loved you. You're a great guy and stuff." He goes, "But man, the time that you let those kids hold that rattlesnake, that wasn't cool." And I was like, I never did that. That wasn't me. That was someone photoshopped that into my pictures. So, so
sad,
anyways,
man.
the point is, I didn't handle it. I was always trying to, like, I didn't do this. I didn't. Finally, I just got to a point where I was like, you can believe what you want. I
Yeah,
know
who
in my
cares?
heart what kind of guy I am. I know that all I do ever is like I sacrificed my entire life for animals.
Right.
Yeah.
My entire life for animals, and my family is sacrificed. And so you just get to a point where you're like, you know, I'm not even going to care.
You got to
don't
do
care.
it. That's how
And,
it's
and
got
as
to
soon-
be.
and then interestingly enough, as soon as I stopped caring, the hate stopped. Because the haters want you to care.
They do.
They want you to
They
care.
want you to engage.
Yeah, and when you
And you should, by the way, always argue on the internet.
Yeah, always
It
argue.
never
You-
goes
You-
poorly.
yes, you
yeah.
should argue with people on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
also not caring about when someone's very angry is a tactic that I've deployed with my wife.
Oh yeah, that works
she
well.
loves it.
Yeah,
That
for
works
sure.
well.
When she's upset about something and I just am smiling, she really likes it a lot.
Yeah, it's really
It
good.
usually stops the argument.
Is that when you then calmly say, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, that also
Or
works really
calm
well.
down.
Stop being crazy. That
Oh,
goes
yeah.
really well.
Stop
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
crazy.
stop
That
being
goes over
crazy.
well.
That goes
Yeah.
over
No,
really
but
well.
it does. It works in the comments.
It
too.
does. You
Yeah.
missed the podcast that Brian where he filled in for you.
I did listen to it though.
We basically spent an hour talking about his new venture of
The
him
Reptarium.
opening,
Yeah. And
well,
the
him
aquarium.
opening an aquarium.
Uh-huh. In the old Vons, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I listened
exactly.
to it. It was
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But since you weren't there, Brian, we just talked a little bit off camera. He's agreed that what you get to pick one creature,
Yeah.
and whatever you pick, he's going to put in the new sea
Are you just
aquarium.
putting him on the spot right now?
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything you want. Anything
signed
you
the
want. I mean, if it's like
Okay.
a beluga
But-
whale, I mean, we only have like a 10-gallon
yeah.
aquarium,
I'm not
though.
gonna do that to you. I'm not
We
gonna
only
do
have a
that to you.
10-gallon aquarium, so
Yeah.
make
The,
it.
the, one,
gallon
the, one,
aquarium.
the one
A
stip-
beta fish. I
one-
just want a beta fish. That's all I want.
No, you don't want to put it. Trust me, don't ever put that you put a beta fish in a 10-gallon aquarium
you
online
get lit-
because you will get
lit up.
destroyed.
Yeah,
If
it-
it's
too
under
small?
a 40-gallon, it's too small.
If it's under a 40-gallon?
If it's under a 40
Don't
gallon,
forget
it's
that
too
they
small.
sell them in Dixie cups
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Petco,
yeah,
but if you put it under a 40-gallon.
The one
All right.
stipulation though is
Yeah.
that you must put a mermaid tail on and be in the aquarium for 1 weekend out of the year.
I was
every
already
year.
planning on doing
Okay.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
saw
All
the
right.
show on
What would
Netflix.
what would it be?
What's your animal that you want to see in the new sea aquarium?
A marine or fresh or whatever I like.
Whatever you want. We got both. We got both.
It's I think it's my favorite freshwater fish, and it's not even that hard to get. A giant paddlefish.
Oh.
I want a big
The
paddlefish.
look on Brian's face
Ooh.
right there. That
Have
was
you seen
genuine.
the platinum paddlefish? The,
No,
the
but
silver ones.
that's now it. That's now it. I want a
That's-
platinum American
He's
paddlefish.
in.
Okay, I love it.
And I'll come with a platinum tail, a
Yeah.
lovely wig,
Yeah.
a shelled bikini top.
Yeah.
Shelled bikini cut
Yeah.
needs to be.
Have you
Yeah.
guys seen paddlefish?
No.
Unbelievably
Only
cool.
in
They have this
pictures.
giant like nose
Big
that
rostrum.
like yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Filter feeders, they
Oh.
open their mouth. It's like a basking shark
Yeah.
with a.
And they
weird-
get
very
big.
interesting
They get
fish to
big.
look
you know?
at.
But we do have.
And you manage that because that's
yeah,
a big
we
fish.
have a 20,000-gallon freshwater tank that's going to be for predator fish, which a paddlefish would be.
You could put it in
in
there.
with predator fish.
Be
so,
fine. There
yep.
we go.
What would
Yeah.
go?
Plus
what,
me and the mermaid tail.
Plus,
Don't forget
we
that.
can fit you
That's-
in there.
yeah.
You're in
Oh.
there for sure.
what,
gonna
what
look
would go
good.
in with the paddlefish? Like,
Well,
what would you
so
put into the predator
arowana,
tank?
red-tailed
I figure
catfish.
you're already getting arapaima,
Yeah,
arowana.
arowana,
You're
yep,
already getting all those.
getting
big
all that.
pacu,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you got to have
You know
them.
all these, right?
Yeah, of course.
Of course,
I
yeah.
studied
He's
before I
going down
came.
to the Everglades to grab some arapaima.
That's all he has
Yeah,
to do.
yeah, yeah,
Did you
yeah.
see that big arapaima they found in the Everglades?
I did not, but I'm
It was
intrigued.
like the size of this table, like the tables put together. This was what?
Oh,
2
yeah, I
years ago?
remember
We
that.
talked
Yeah,
about it on
we
the pod.
talked about it on the
Some
pod.
guy was fishing
Huge.
and just found a dead arapaima in the glades that was like 14 feet long.
Legit the
Oh
size
my
of this table.
gosh, yeah, that's
it was
incredible.
Huge.
We did just pick up a 6 foot, which is pales in comparison to that 6 foot, 180-pound arapaima.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, that so
Awesome.
that's
When
and we have
when's,
another smaller one that's about 5
When's
foot.
the
but-
aquarium going to be ready?
well, if Santa is good to me, which I've been a good boy this year, we're hoping Christmas.
Nice.
That's exciting. Are you doing a big
Soon.
grand opening?
Yeah, we're gonna do. We'll do like a soft opening that will probably be for our patrons or whatever the case is,
Yeah.
and then we'll do a big grand opening where and we have we have the whole metropolitan Detroit area is behind us, so we have like every chamber of commerce, every
Yep.
mayor
Yep.
from
That's
every
great.
surrounding, they all want to come and
I'm
do a
definitely
rubber.
coming out for your opening.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'm not
It's-
kidding.
it-
I
I would
love
love
film
it.
it.
Real
Dude,
quick,
we'll do
were
it.
you invited?
I'm
yes,
self-invited.
he's
Well,
invited.
gonna be
He's
there.
invited. I
gonna-
promise
he's-
you.
Of course he's going to be there.
I'm the main attraction
Yeah.
in my
Yeah, the
silver
mermaid, the
tail.
paddlefish.
tail.
Someone's got to put the paddlefish in the tank.
That's it, yeah.
Can a mermaid live with a paddlefish?
I mean, it depends which version of Disney you watch.
Okay, all right.
So
Perfect.
since the pod, which was that was only 3 weeks ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks.
Any big advancements?
In the aquarium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of turning the corner now, right? Like it's one of those things that if you guys, I'm sure, have been in projects where it's like it seems like nothing is happening and
Right,
it's
you're just-
frustrating, and you're like, what's going on? And then you finally hit that thing where it's like, bam, it's all happening,
Yeah.
And so right
yeah.
now it's like it's all happening, So
That's great.
it's as a matter of fact, we just the front of the building we did a lot. I mean, we talked about it on the
Yeah.
podcast. We put $1 million into the front of the building just so it looks cool. And so literally yesterday the glass went in.
Oh,
So
nice.
so of course, you know.
How are you here right now?
I know.
It's so hard.
This
It's
guy
so
does
hard.
more
you know?
than anybody I've ever met. Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
but I love it, you know, and I mean that's what keeps me going, and I love it. But so my workers back at the shop were sending me pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, can't believe I wasn't here when the glass went in, because the glass, you know, that's like there's a lot of glass. I mean, the entire front of the building is basically glass.
Right.
It's a huge wave, you know, it's like this giant wave of glass to
it's
kind of
awesome.
simulate a wave.
Epic.
Yeah.
And it's bluish tint, and the fact that I'm not there when it's being done, it kills me. But I'm happy to be here,
you
and
get to
I'm
go
not
get
complaining.
the big reveal.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just going to be
Sweet.
done.
Yeah.
So let me
Oh,
ask
no,
you a
please,
quick
go
one,
ahead.
Brian. Peter, on the flight yesterday, because we had an early flight, 2 of us flew together. You know, wake up in the morning, we drag our asses to LAX.
Yes.
Groggy, dour. And we were just talking about the event, and he was like, dude, every time we talk to Brian, man, his energy is through the roof. What's your morning go-to? Do you wake up, slug a glass of water and a coffee?
I don't. So I don't do any energy or caffeine. I've never done caffeine, you know,
That's
like
the
or
secret.
any
He's
energy
high
or
on
anything
life.
like that.
That's the
No, I
secret.
really seriously I am. I mean, I think that, you know, I get up early. I get up at 6ish every day. And I think when you're excited about what you do,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you're really like, I'm not talking like, yeah, I like my job. I mean, like you cannot think of anything else in the world you'd rather be doing than your job.
Yeah.
Right,
It gives you the energy, right?
that.
You know, like,
Absolutely.
and that's what my life is. And you know, Jay Tomsky, who's my filmer, you know, he's heard me say it. He's been with me for 5 years now. I say it, and this is really the truth. I don't do anything that I don't want to do.
Love, that's
Nothing.
amazing.
I mean, you know,
You get
but-
to a certain age, and it's just like,
yeah.
Done.
yeah.
Yeah,
it be
you just,
nice,
I mean,
though?
even when there's like great financial opportunity, you know, someone would be like, oh, you know, I'll give you 50 grand to do this. And you're like, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
like don't want, you know, it's like if I'm not passionate about it, I'm not
You
interested.
probably know you're not going to do as good of a job if you're
Right,
not
yeah.
passionate
Yeah.
about it as well.
Yeah.
Can I make an assumption?
Yes.
I bet you were a C student in school.
100% C student.
I swear to God.
100%.
You know how I know? Because I was mostly a C student.
sure, yeah,
because the subjects that I loved, I was straight A's. I freaking loved them. Everything else I was like, don't care.
But
don't
I will
care
te-
if I fail it.
I will tell you, there's a caveat to that. I went to a year and a half of college only, so I didn't graduate. I was a 4.0 student then because I was trying to prove my dad wrong.
There you
that
go.
He said I was stupid.
You needed
know?
a motivator.
And I was like, oh, I'm
motivated.
Yeah.
stupid, huh? You
Love
don't think
that.
I can get A's? And I was a 4.0 student
Sounds
for
like
the
a
year
bit
and
of
a half.
a piece of shit. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
No,
My dad, too, it's fine.
I was messing with you. He's been gone a long time, and he was a piece of shit.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. No, he was. Thank God I learned the lessons from him to not be that dad to my kids.
All right. Well, on
but,
that note, we'll sit. No.
yeah. No, but it, you know, motivated me to do things, right? You know, I
Yeah,
mean, it motivated you.
absolutely,
You
man.
use that negative energy and you motivate yourself to do things, and I just wanted to prove to myself that I could be a straight A student if I wanted to be. But like you said, I just didn't care.
Yeah, you
You
just
know what I
didn't
mean?
care.
Like I was a biology, like you. I was a
Yeah.
biology nut. Like you
Yeah.
put me in microbiology,
Kill it.
I am like
Yep.
loving it.
Uh-huh.
You put me in a math class, and
Nope.
I have
Snooze.
no interest.
That's exactly how I
you
was.
know? Or
Geometry,
English.
come on.
Yeah, like
Useless.
Are
really,
you
yeah,
kidding
Hey,
me?
we're never all going to walk around with a calculator in our pockets.
Never.
Remember what every
Never.
teacher
Could
told you?
never
Exactly.
Yeah, never happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Brian, last thing before we let you go, unfortunately. We always love having you on.
Yeah.
Today is the industry day, so it's just the creators.
Yep.
Tell us, you know, if people are watching this at home and they're in the area,
Yep.
where do they come? What do they do? How do they come to AnimalCon? How do they see us and join the audiences? Like,
Yep.
give us the spiel.
Yeah, so it's animalconusa.com. You can go online, buy tickets there, or you can just show up at the Caribe Royale in Orlando. It's right down in Orlando, and you can show up and buy a ticket on the spot if you want to come in for a day. You know, you can even
And
buy
you should.
and
You
you can
should.
buy VIP tickets to
really
hang out
fun.
at night and drink beer with Forrest, because I mean he drinks a lot of beer at night.
He'll have
Yep.
his mermaid
You
tail.
can meet,
on.
what's it, Sparky the monkey?
Um,
Kinsey.
Kinsey Monkey.
Kinsey
Yep, we're
monkey.
very
Kinsey Monkey,
interested
yep.
in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we are
A lot
very
of questions
interested in
about
Kinsey
that,
monkey.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian,
We're all
for
just
putting
monkeys.
this event on.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks,
You're the
buddy.
best, man.
man.
Love you, man.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Thanks
All
for
right.
coming on.
Brian,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see you up over by the water slide around 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Okay.
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's get some
yeah, I'll
slides
still
in.
be up.
Water slide.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Brian.
brother.
All right, thanks a lot,
Much
All
man.
right.
Appreciated.
What a champion.
For sure.
That guy
dude.
doesn't miss.
Love that guy.
He just doesn't miss.
Dude, I
Yeah.
love that guy.
All right. Well,
on the next
speaking of stars,
Who do we got
Dude,
next?
speaking of aquariums.
speaking of aquariums, yeah, good point.
Aquarium.
Patrick's like, speaking of aquariums, he gets up and leaves. Can you get me a 5-hour energy, please?
God. Dude, doing a live
Thank you.
4-hour thing. This is like new territory for me.
I'm enjoying it.
I'm having so much fun. But
I've
my
never seen you
mermaid tail
fangirl
hurts.
so hard as you did over Dave Womack.
Dude, his eyes are
Dreamy.
just
Dreamy. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I was-
Jamie's a lucky woman.
Dude, he was so interesting. I was just like,
Pretty cool, huh?
What?
I know.
People in the world do this? It's not just on TV?
Crazy, huh?
Yes.
Man, just waking up on a Tuesday and being like, flight suit with a peregrine tomorrow.
flight suit. I'm gonna go like do a flying squirrel out of a hot air balloon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane. All right, well, our next guest is very exciting. Everybody knows this, but we'll give a little background before we bring him on. Patrick was an all-star producer at Animal Planet, were you not? You came in, saved whale wars. Don't be modest here. That's not
I
your
made
strong
a lot
suit.
of shows for them, yeah.
Made a lot of shows, okay, including one very famous Extinctor Alive that did very well
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
its,
Very good
for
show.
its run.
I've heard of it.
And I would say one of the shows that we all knew, loved, and watched as Animal Planet people was the very, very popular Tanked. Tanked. So here is Brett Raymer. Is that, am I saying right? Raymer.
Brett Raymer.
Welcome.
Brett
Welcome
Raymer
to the
from Tanked.
panel.
What's
Up, guys? What's going on, man?
Hey,
Fellas,
nice
man.
to
happening?
meet
How are
ya.
you? Good to see you.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
Yeah, buddy. How you been?
Oh man, doing well.
It's been a
doing
year
well.
since I've seen you.
I know. It's been a year. Can't believe it. Quick though. Time flies, man.
Sure does. Dude, welcome to the pod. This is the Wild Times podcast.
Thank you.
You've probably never heard of it. Most people haven't, but we have a good time.
Yeah.
Forrest, talk into the mic.
I will not.
Please.
I
Jesus
won't.
Christ.
I won't do it.
Looks like
Can
you got a
shut up.
Brett,
Yeah.
good to have you on, man.
Yeah.
Tanked was an amazing show. Done now, right?
Yeah. Done. 2019 it ended.
How many years did you do that? How many seasons did you guys
So
do?
they considered it 15 seasons.
Yeah.
15 seasons.
156 episodes.
nice.
Insane.
And yeah, it was a wild ride.
Oh,
It was,
I meant to tell you. Sorry, keep talking.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
almost bought one of your tanks 2 days ago. Swear
there
to
you
God.
go. I saw it was online. Someone sent me a picture of it.
Yeah, that was the one I almost bought. I'm gonna find
Yeah,
it. But keep
Dwight
going.
Howard's old
Dwight
tank.
Howard's
Old
tank. I was
tank.
just
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
pull it
I know.
up.
I saw someone.
I almost bought. So talk about a roundabout world. A few days ago, Ohio Fish Rescue. We might be having him on the pod.
Big Rich,
Big Rich,
my buddy.
was like, "Hey, I have Dwight Howard's old tank," and I messaged him. I was like, "This tank's insane. I really want it."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No problem, dude. It's yours if you want it. It's 10 feet tall. I have 8-foot ceilings in my house." Couldn't
Yeah,
do it.
and
but
so
he built it.
We made it for Dwight Howard, and then Dwight Howard moved, and then he gave it to the Fish Gallery, and then the Fish Gallery got it somehow to Rich, and then Rich, somehow,
Small
it all
world.
works. It all works a small circle. But yeah, like we were saying before, man, 156 episodes, 15 seasons. It was a great time.
How'd you get started? How'd you get into this?
So I was watching Orange County Choppers one day, and I'm like, man, I could do that. I could turn aquariums into rocket ships. If those guys could turn motorcycles into
Right.
rocket ships, I could do the same thing with aquariums.
How
So,
long had you been doing it before the show got picked
we
up?
opened. So we got into business in '97.
Okay.
And
For a
this-
while.
in Vegas.
In Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law
Specifically
Wade.
for casinos?
No, it was more. We were doing celebrities back then, but it
Okay.
wasn't on the scale that we were doing it now. Like we had done a variety of different celebrities. We were doing them for stores. We were doing them for just regular people. But it wasn't until I watched Orange County Choppers and realized that we could take it up a notch.
Yeah.
Except that I realized most families weren't like those guys. They were more like Married with Children.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, have that Married with Children kind of vibe along with mixing in aquariums.
Yeah.
And at the time, I knew that the hobby Animal Planet, Meerkat was like their number one show. And I always used to say to myself, there's no fish shows anywhere. And, there's public aquariums everywhere around the country, and they never close. And why don't they ever close is because people love to watch fish.
Yeah.
They might not like to take care of it, but they definitely love to watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I was like, that's it. I got an idea. So I came in and told my family about it, and they were like, man, that's the worst idea I've ever heard. And then at
Typical.
that point, I knew it was the best idea that I
you're
ever
like,
had.
this is
Yeah.
So I went to the UNLV Film School and just popped in on the professor and knocked on his door. And this is, you got to remember, 2007. This is before social, before
things were
YouTube.
different, yeah.
Things
Oh
were
yeah.
a lot
the
lot
iPhones
different.
weren't even out.
I didn't even know what to do, how to even film a pilot or a sizzle reel, what the difference was between the two.
Sure.
Sure.
So I go to the UNLV Film School, and he's like, he goes, man, I can't believe you just walked in my door. I'm like, yeah, I figured maybe, you figure I want to learn, and that's what teachers are for. Maybe you can give me some knowledge. He goes, well, let me come down to your place and take a look. So he takes a look, and he walks around, and he goes, you got a hit TV show here. And I goes, can you help us out? You know, he goes, unfortunately, I can't, but I can tell you how to do it. He goes, you see that phone right there? He goes, pick it up, dial production company, send them a one-pager, and hopefully you're going to get lucky that says someone's interested, and they'll film either a pilot or a sizzle reel. So
Yeah.
the first phone call was like, yeah, hi, this is Brett Raymer. You know, I'm looking to do this TV show about fish. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Fish.
Yeah, it didn't go really well, you know. So it took me like a year to finally get somebody that
About
goes, you know,
fish.
I'll be in Vegas. I'll film, I'll shoot,
come out.
come check you out.
Yeah.
So he comes
Yeah.
and checks us out. And he goes, okay, you know, he goes, looks pretty good. He goes, I'll film a pilot. He goes, but it's going to cost you $5,000. And I go, okay, we got a little problem. He goes, what's that? I said, I'm $49.99 short. So he starts to laugh, and he goes, I go, see, I'm funny. That's why we're going to have a hit TV show. So he films us. He shops it for a year. Doesn't do anything with it. I wound up getting the footage back for him based on our contract, which was like unheard of, but I wound up getting it back. The problem is he shot a pilot, not a sizzle reel. And all
Right.
the meat was at the end of the video.
Nobody made it to it.
Nobody made it through,
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
So what happened was eventually I got it to a friend of mine who got it to Nancy Glass Productions. And Nancy looked at it and goes, man, this is great, but the problem is all the meat is at the end.
Yeah.
Let us recut this and rework it. Now, mind you, 3 years from the time I had the idea to the time we got it to Nancy.
Yep.
And Nancy goes, okay, here's your new product. And I went, oh, my God.
Dude,
this
you
is
saw it
like,
the
I
first
went
time.
like, this is even more. I thought the other one was amazing. This
Yeah.
is like
Yep.
10 times more amazing,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it was all because of it was the same footage.
Yeah.
But the editing was everything,
Oh,
right? So that's why we
chef's
know
kiss.
that editing, you know, what it does today's day and
Yeah,
age. But
yeah.
editing was everything. And she edited the footage down, and 2 weeks later, we got picked up by Animal Planet.
Dude.
And,
And
It's
that-
at that
amazing.
point, that time, I said to them, I said, you know, we're going to be one of your longest running shows because people love fish. And
Yeah.
they were like, hopefully it does. And we were one of the longest running shows at the time. You know, like I
Yeah,
said,
absolutely.
150-something episodes. You know, almost 9 years of time. And the only reason why the show went away is because television started kind of swing on the downswing.
We all know.
Oh,
You
we
know,
know.
prices started going
Oh, we
up,
know.
Yeah, we
and everybody
know.
wants to slash everything. And the next thing you know, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it was the great time of my life. But I'll be honest, I don't know if I would do it again.
Yeah,
So
I
let's
could
talk.
see that.
I get it. I mean, Patrick might have some more questions about the TV. I want to know about the tanks.
Yeah,
I want to know
exactly.
about
No,
your
I was going
passion.
to tanks, baby.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because one of my biggest personal dreams is to have a ridiculous zoo-style turtle, caiman, monitored lizard tank in my living room one day. I first need a much bigger living room, but when that eventually happens, I'm going to build out this crazy custom zoo-style enclosure.
Yeah.
First of all, will you help me with that?
Absolutely,
Okay.
100%.
Secondly,
You
tell
have
me
a
about
caiman.
like your passion for tanks. Like I've seen you turn TVs into tanks, put cars into tanks.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy stuff. Like where's this design coming from? What are you thinking? Like, let's hear about it.
So I've always been creative. I love creativity. That's why we created the show, right, in
Yeah.
general. And we believe that we could turn different things into aquariums, that was going to make it exciting.
Yeah.
And, we always had passion to build aquariums, but it really went to the next level once we had the TV show because we were always sitting there, okay, how can we top the next one? How can
Yeah.
we make the
and I'm
next
guessing
one?
when you walk into the average person's house before you have a TV show and you're like, hey, I'm going to turn your old Volkswagen Beetle in the driveway into an aquarium in your living room. They're like, no, I just want a fish tank. Sir.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not. You know,
Right?
it's,
Like, they're not like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the funny thing is that those were elaborate and those were done for businesses and people that wanted to be on the show and people that wanted to have that. But sometimes we always thought about practicality,
Yeah.
right? You wanted to make sure that the tank was practical
Yeah.
enough to you didn't want to just turn something into something and then have it not be
Yeah,
functional
they
as
could
an
take
aquarium,
care of it and-
right?
yeah.
So we always wanted to make sure that it was functional and it was proper for the people. But
Sure.
obviously the show sparked a lot of interest and it made people's creative juices flow as well
Yeah.
as ours, right?
Yep.
So you're getting people all the time calling us up, go, hey, by the way, can we turn my son into an aquarium?
Yeah.
Can we make one look like my kid? Or
Yeah.
could we do like a big horse? Could we turn like I have this horse statue? We
Yeah.
but people got outlandish and we would hear like crazy requests.
What was the
What?
craziest one?
Yeah.
Could you have
No,
any
I'm
that?
serious. Someone wanted to do like their kid. They
Their
wanted us to like
kid.
literally, they thought that what we could do is that we could actually mold it and then we would be able to pour the acrylic. Once they found out, it could be done, but you're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands
Oh,
of dollars,
sure, yeah.
to do it.
Uh-huh.
But hey, look, anything can be done if you have the right amount
Sure,
of money, right?
sure.
I do think it's a pretty good idea, to be honest. Turn my kid into a tank. That's
Yeah,
pretty funny.
exactly. It was
Yeah.
saved,
Weird.
just because they have those things now. We could like laser people, and
Sure.
you get that whole function, and you could actually
Sure.
make molds based on the laser,
Sure.
and you can pour it and get it done.
Yeah.
So we've had people that have odd requests. A lot of the big ones back in the day were floor aquariums. People wanted to do a lot of floor aquariums where they could walk on them. But then it's not practical for maintenance, right? How are you going to get under there? How do you cleaning it? How are you going to, they don't think about these things.
People forget that aquariums take maintenance. You don't just set them up and you're like, oh, it's perfect forever.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is true. But yeah, we love making aquariums, and we love making them one better than the next. The show is just what I wanted to really do when we created the show was spawn the hobby. That was the whole goal. When we created the show, there was nothing like Aquashella. There was nothing like Reefapalooza. We were a fraction of the dog and cat show. Right?
Yeah.
The dog and cat show, and then over there, fish? Yeah, over there. If you look in the back over there, the little section back there is fish.
Right. There's 8 neon tetras and a dead goldfish.
Exactly.
Enjoy.
And I had one of those tanks, right? So I kept saying to us, I go, there's got to be better than this. We can do better.
Yeah.
And we can make this hobby better. And that was our whole entire goal. And you know what? What makes amazing about being at a lot of these shows is I see kids, I call them kids now, right? That are 23, 25, 26. Our show started in 2011, right? So we're 12 years. These guys were 13 years old, 12 years old.
Reality was just taking off.
And now they've watched my show, and they're like, I started my YouTube channel because of you.
That's
I
awesome.
started this because of you. I started this. So everything that I did, I see how it has spawned a whole new generation of people to do the things that we love.
Scaping's like a big thing now.
Huge.
We had Dr. Plants on earlier, and his whole thing is like, scaping. But, there's a scape off going on right over there later in the day. But it's like that's become its whole thing.
Dude, I mean, when we went to the reptile show and we were just looking at the frog enclosures.
You and this frog enclosure.
No,
I've heard about this
I
700
might just
times.
get one of these and not have any frogs in it. Like, it's so relaxing just to look
at
at
the little
it.
mister. Remember, it had the mister in it?
Yeah, it's a piece of art.
Yeah.
Right?
And not only did things like our show do that, but the internet, the spawning of cameras and everything has done that, right? People want to top the next person.
Right.
So whereas before, as we were trying to top ourselves,
Yeah.
but now with what we have to show everyone on the planet, they're all trying to top each other.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that has spawned. It spawned a whole new generation of people trying to create.
I got to ask this before, because I want to make sure we get this in.
Do
because our average listener is probably about 22.
Yep. Well, Peter would know.
A lot of them probably haven't seen Tanked.
That's about right.
What is, whether it was for the show or not, what's the biggest, most insane, just the craziest enclosure you've ever built, biggest tank?
You did that one for an actual aquarium.
So
it was like a walk-in, right? I remember that.
I think the biggest and the most craziest one that we've ever done, I think, is in Dallas, Texas. It's at a church.
That's what it was, a church.
Yeah, so we built the aquarium, and then they built the building around the aquarium.
It's the whole, if I'm not mistaken, it's the whole entry to the church is an aquarium.
It's the whole entire entrance to the 10,000-seat congregation. So the tank is 80 feet. It's 80 feet long. It's 18 feet wide and like 20 feet tall, and you walk through 2 10-foot tunnels to get into the congregation. And we built the aquarium 2 years before they actually even built the building.
How long does that job take?
It took about 5 years in total to get it from beginning to end. Because you got to remember, people don't realize we're not just building an aquarium. We're building a facility.
Right.
We're building, to feed the fish, the quarantine setup with the filtration room. I mean, this is just a monster of an aquarium. And not only that.
How many gallons?
I believe it was 120,000 maybe. 120,000, somewhere in that range.
What would be if you had unlimited funds? What would be your dream tank?
So really, what I wanted to do is this is something that was thought about, and we proposed it a long time ago. Just couldn't raise the funds at the time. We wanted to really do an indoor swimming with the fish and shark enclosure in Las Vegas.
Oh, dude, nice.
Wait. So explain it a little bit.
So like you can literally like.
So like a pond, like a beautiful clear pond with like a glass wall, and you can come in and swim with the fish and sharks.
Correct.
So marine though.
Marine,
okay.
But indoors.
I love it.
Indoors, right? In Las Vegas.
That's what I should have asked for with Brian. I missed my opportunity. I just put a paddle fishing. I was like, here's what I need you to do. I need you to get Brett and build a swim-in.
Like Discovery Cove is amazing, right? Discovery Cove is amazing. Imagine
What's
that.
Discovery Cove?
It's here in Florida where you can go and actually have the lagoons, and you go snorkeling in the lagoon, and you swim with all different kinds of species of fish, and they're all with you.
Okay.
It's kind of same concept, but
Yeah.
you take it up a few levels where
Sure.
you can have scuba diving, snorkeling, and you have it
So it's
all
kind of like what they did in Dubai with that.
very
giant-
similar to
yeah,
doing that, but we
okay.
do it in Las Vegas where
Yeah.
everybody comes. You know, it's
Yeah.
Sure,
you can
sure.
literally do this in the middle of the desert.
So
Yeah.
not in my living room.
Not in your living
Damn
room.
it.
Well, definitely in your living room too, but you know,
Better-
not for that big.
This podcast better get a lot more popular.
Yeah, you need it.
After today, it will, I'm sure.
I was going to ask you something, and then we got
Did you-
sidetracked.
I mean-
oh, I know what I was
yeah,
going to ask
go
you.
ahead,
Can
go
I?
ahead.
Let me ask
Yeah.
one question. Back to the topic before the dream build. We were talking about all these people competing in aquascaping and terrariumscaping. Do you think that's led to better husbandry practices? Because I know a big part of what you believe in is like good husbandry for fish keeping.
100%. 100%. I think, you know, obviously with a lot of the plants, a lot more of planted dynamics, you're definitely going to have more people involved in the husbandry aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I just believe that, you know, like I said, once again, you know, the internet, social media, it just spawns so much of a different generation because there's so much more access to see so many different
absolutely.
things. So you know, it's more like if somebody now sees something and they don't know how it's done, they're able to go research it. Where back in the day, you know, we had to look in encyclopedias.
Yeah, you
We
figured
had
it
to,
out yourself.
You know,
Right.
Library.
Right.
yeah, you have so much more access, you
Yeah.
know. So the kids growing up today have it a lot better than we did, obviously, or I did growing
Sure.
up, you know.
Sure.
No doubt.
For sure. So
You got an
but I believe,
encyclopedia
you know,
in your
yeah, the
phone.
husbandry, like part of it, like I said, it's even on the television show, you know, like I said, sometimes we got a bad rap because but people don't realize it's television, you know, and we did everything we could behind the scenes
Of
to make
course.
sure that the show went smooth.
What? You still live in Vegas?
I do. I live in Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. Still
Yeah.
making tanks?
Still, so I'm not making. I haven't made a tank in. Well, I do side projects here and there, but as far as manufacturing, I haven't. I've been out of the business since 2019.
Okay.
So I'm actually a restaurateur now.
Oh, cool.
Really?
Yeah. I own 2 restaurants in Las Vegas.
Now hold on a minute. Do these restaurants have aquariums? in them?
One does.
Okay.
My original location
That was
does.
good. If he had said no, I'd be like, get off.
So
Get
my,
off the
my,
stage.
You're
my
done.
original
You're
location, we have a cichlid aquarium. We have,
Okay.
we have a 150 cichlid
Nice.
aquarium in it. And I have a lot of the memorabilia from the television show
cool.
in the first location.
Are you
Um,
passionate about food?
I'm really passionate
What
about
kind of
food.
restaurants are
So
they?
it's a New York style Italian.
Oh, nice.
You
My
know,
favorite.
If you
pizza.
had to guess what kind of food.
I was gonna get
It's a New York style.
yeah, you had to
That's
guess
right.
this is a New York style Italian
So,
restaurant
you know,
guy.
I've never been in the restaurant business before. And then in 2019, obviously, I left the aquarium business. The pandemic hit. Then after the pandemic, I was kind of like, you know, I've been doing aquariums for 30 years. And, you know, it's something I've already done and accomplished.
30 years is a long time.
And it's actually been longer, but I felt like I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish in the aquarium world.
Yeah.
And even though I'm still working on stuff in it, but I didn't feel like that was the direction I wanted to go anymore. I felt like I wanted to go in another direction.
You did it.
And I wanted to do that because I wanted to show my kids, or I have a few kids,
Yeah.
I wanted to show them that even though you have zero experience,
Yeah.
that you could still be successful in anything that you want to do, right?
Love
So I've
that.
had a dream of
that.
always owning my own little pizza shop,
Yeah.
restaurant. And I opened it up, and I had a partner at the time, and we really didn't see eye to eye. He was the chef,
Yeah.
and I got rid of
That's
him.
not good.
Right? He left,
Yeah.
and then I took over completely. And
You're doing the chef.
I'm not. I do
The
cook,
chefing?
but I'm not the head chef. No,
Chefing?
I do
The
cook.
chefing.
I do every
You cook?
recipe does go through me.
Yeah.
I make sure I approve everything that
taste
goes.
What's the
test
name of the
everything.
I
restaurant?
taste test everything.
What are
So-
the restaurants? What's the name?
So it's called Stallone's Italian Eatery.
Okay.
Nice.
And like I said, we have one inside the Santa Fe Station Casino, which is a little further out north. And then I have
Nice.
a freestanding location, which is on over not far from the airport, but over by the South Point Hotel.
Awesome.
And it's been a couple of years, but let me tell you something. It's been such a great experience just to learn, right?
Oh,
to
yeah.
learn something new, and then to see something grow the way it's been growing.
Absolutely.
We got into the hotel kind of accidentally. It just kind of came upon us. We had a good start with our opening. Someone heard about us, and they wound up, the owner of the hotel's son got us into the hotel.
Nice.
And not because it was me, just because of our food and because of the customer service, and we just had a good reputation,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
Sure.
over the course of a year. And it's kind of the same thing like I tell anybody else. If you give good customer service and you give a good product, the money will come as long as you enjoy what you do. You know?
That seems to be the overarching theme of everybody we've had on. You know, everybody's just super passionate about what they do, and then the success has come from that.
Even restaurantouring.
Yes.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
you know, I didn't.
Brett, thank you
yeah,
so
man.
much,
Yeah,
buddy.
absolutely,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
No,
Yeah.
not at
Great
all.
having
Thank
you
you,
on.
fellas.
Yeah.
Appreciate you
It's
guys.
super cool. Thanks for coming on. Still love your show. It's still on Animal
It's
Planet
still
all the
there
time.
every
They
day.
throw reruns every day.
Every day.
It's a great show.
Well, we appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having on.
Yeah,
me, and,
man.
look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, buddy.
All
All right,
brother.
guys.
Thanks
take
for
care.
coming. Sweet.
Raymer?
I have had a cup of coffee at dawn,
Yep.
a latte when Kyle brought it to me, like a very good producer.
5-hour energy.
And now a 5-hour energy and extra strength.
You wired?
0 bites of food. I brought a banana
Sa-
to the stage.
same. I have also
I
had
might
no.
die soon. I could feel my heart in my throat.
We have 2 hours left.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I have 2 protein bars in my bag.
I'll take one of them.
Don't know when I'm going to get to
You
eat
can't eat
one.
them now. You can't eat on a lot. Can't do it. Yeah, I mean, throw it here. I'll hide it. But yeah, no, I'm so wired right now. All right. Well, next up, do I see him? Yeah, there he is. All right, we lost Peter, which is good. Thank God.
He's working on
Huh?
He's
What?
doing some technical
All right. Well, while he
stuff.
does that, I'm gonna eat
Let's
some
bring
bar.
Jeremiah up.
Yeah, let's. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've always wanted to say this: lights, camera, ants.
Ants.
Yeah, wasn't expecting that.
What's
up,
up,
buddy?
man?
How you doing, Jeremiah? Good to see you, bro. I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Good, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
gonna
you for
have a
inviting
bite of
me.
this while we chat.
No, go
just
ahead,
so you
dude.
know. 'cause
That's
I've
going
had too
to
much
sound
caffeine.
good, you
drinking
chewing
this
into the
throughout
mic.
It's the thing now,
Hopefully
ASMR.
The speaker goes up just as you're chewing
Um,
the chewiest
No,
bar.
but dude, how's it
in the-
going? Tell everybody. We tried to get you on the pod once before, and our
Yeah.
schedules didn't align. But I'm glad you're here now.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about ants. Let's go.
All right. Let's see. So, where do we start? What do you know about ants so far?
6 legs,
Uh-huh.
thorax,
Good start.
I'm chewing.
can
Please
carry a lot of
continue.
weight, lots of different kinds. Don't get bit by a bullet ant. I've heard that sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have bullet
Um,
ants?
I have Texas bullet ants.
Wow.
They're not as bad,
Okay.
but as the name suggests, it still hurts if you get stung.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you built. When you think, all right,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna get people super excited about animals.
Yeah.
Super easy to do that with a cobra, a lion,
Uh-huh.
even a super dope shark. Pretty hard to do it with ants.
I won't lie. Ants can be boring sometimes, like really boring. They just sit around. But there's when you have a camera that you used to zoom in and
You
you
use a
actually see
probe
what's
lens?
going. I don't have a probe lens yet, but I do use other macro lenses for
Okay.
it. And iPhones have gotten so good
Right.
that it comes with a macro lens thing within the phone.
Sure.
And so you don't have to get a super expensive camera lens.
Yeah.
I have one. I get even closer shots. That way I can see more of what's going on.
Yeah.
But with the help of the camera, I can see what goes on and how much more interesting it is.
So tell us
'Cause-
about like your fascination with ants. Like, how did you translate that into what you're talking about, filming and putting it up and all of that?
Yeah, so originally I wasn't keeping ants to film them. It was just a hobby.
Yeah.
And it still sort of is. I still like keep the ants and do the things off camera
Yeah.
and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
But it was like, I can't remember. I think it was like when I first started, it was just a single queen ant, fire ant queen. The entire first year, I caught a few queen ants, but they all died. Like the first year was a bust.
Okay.
And second year was amazing. Caught my, I don't know, like maybe 10th queen ant at the time.
Okay.
Put 4 of them together, thinking they would fight. They didn't fight.
Yep.
And then I was like, hold up, this is a 4-queen colony. Let me start filming this and documenting it.
Right.
And then from then on, I started realizing, oh wait, these ants actually have like cool behaviors. They don't just sit around. They don't just walk around and eat. They go and hunt. And different ants hunt in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you'll have carpenter ants and field ants. They'll use acid to spray
Amazing.
insects and
Yeah.
paralyze
Like a
them.
bombardier beetle.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Essentially, not as hot, but
Right.
still the same effect of
Yep.
paralyzing it.
Yep.
And they use that and they eat it. But they also use that acid, from what I've noticed, to like clean themselves. or
Yep.
clean the nest that
Amazing.
they're in. They're very, very smart animals and super clean too. Like
What do you mean
leafcutter
super
ants.
clean?
So, we'll get into it. Leafcutter ants, they grow fungus. They grow like microscopic mushrooms essentially, and they have to combat these fungus weeds. Yeah, so it's a
So on
bad fungus.
themselves?
No,
In their
but
colonies?
they grow
What do you mean?
bacteria, like I guess like on their chest area, between their head and thorax.
Okay.
They grow bacteria here,
Yeah.
and they use that bacteria to fend off the bad fungus. And so
Oh,
they're
interesting.
weeding out the bad fungus. And
So how do
growing the good
you,
one.
in your husbandry practices, like they just do it organically?
Yeah. So with ants, with the leafcutter ant specifically, I just give them leaves. They'll process it, and then whatever dead fungus